Testing. Welcome to the weekend must-watch on Intercut, the weekly show going through all the movies, TV, and entertainment that people just can't cut away from. I'm your co-host, Arturo Zurita, and joining me, the Academy nominee, Zachary Shevich!
What's going on? It's an honor just to be nominated. It's always an honor to be here with you, talking about movies, and especially on the night after a really wonderful Oscars.
The Super Bowl of movies has happened, and we are here to discuss all of the winners, all of the nominees, all of the snubs, all of the hate, all of the awkwardness, all of the Sandman. We are not going to be going longer than the Brutalist speeches, but we will be doing a compilation of Sean Baker's speeches where it's impactful minute by minute, but we won't try to drag it out. We'll be talking about the highlights of the show, the low points of the show, the things we thought should have won, where they went wrong, and all of that good stuff here on the Intercut podcast. But first, we've got a lot to catch up on, because while we've been doing Sundance, we're about to do South by. Zachary Shevich, have you seen Flight Risk?
No, I have a rule that I don't go into the theaters for Mel Gibson movies. For everything else, but maybe not Mel Gibson movies.
Oh, hold on. The music's coming back. I really like that beat right there.
My bad. Also don't know why I played the old one. But
we were looking for that new one. It was I guess just looking for the classic little throwback there, but we'll get the new one for the outro there. Welcome everybody in the chat. I see some of the Intercuties already there. Zahid, Rap Boy, hey, Rat King right here. Through the Lens over here. What's up, Josh and Zach? We are here talking about the 2025 Oscars. We've obviously done a lot of coverage leading up to it. Y'all have seen our reactions and the like. Start it simply before you take it away, Zach.
I'm going thumbs up. I thought it was a delightful show. There's always things to complain about in an Oscars, but I think the things that I had to complain about this year's ceremony, a lot smaller and a lot less important than the things I normally complain about. I had a really good time watching these Oscars, and it's, it was a little bit sad to not be watching them with you as I have the last few years, but I had fun.
Finally had about Hulu this time, Didn't have to do some crazy rig
well,
in a festival.
Were you able to watch the whole thing on Hulu? Because I had some difficulty with the last two awards.
I told you, damn you, Hulu ABC, for finally allowing it to be on a streaming thing like I've asked for years. On the year that I've already prepaid for YouTube TV. So because of that, I was on YouTube TV. And damn that I fear that people did not get to hear Best Actress. I love paying for services. Them telling me that my ad-free content will now include ads and I have no choice. That the content I like is being removed. And then when I'm watching live shows, you can't even see them live. I don't know, bro.
Yeah, so for me and for a lot of others, I think at the 3-hour point, the Hulu live stream automatically ended the show.
So and then where you can't upload over 15 yet,
right? It's so annoying. The year they finally make it available, they can't make the climax of the show available. So I'm a bit jealous that you were able to watch it on YouTube TV. I guess there is some benefit to not switching over right away.
Anora edged y'all again twice in 1 year. How rough. But yeah, no, overall, I did think the presentation worked out well. You got to see it on Hulu. I don't know if you had any other quirks with it. Mine ran pretty well. Same commercials that they were cutting to and the like. Other than that, I thought
only thing I noticed is I think the Hulu stream was maybe a little behind the broadcast TV stream because I'd see the results on Twitter a little before they'd announce them.
Ooh.
But,
I was ahead, so all my Kalshi picks were hitting really in time because I was in the future. Overall, it was a good presentation, I thought.
Yeah. And I think we should start with, if anything, with the host of the whole ceremony, my guy, Conan O'Brien, coming in with the monologue, with the pre-tape, with the substance coming out of Demi Moore. Came in with a song. He's a bit of a song and dance man. What'd you think of Conan taking on the hosting reins?
I wish he would have opened. I didn't think we needed the Wicked thing.
Yeah, I agree. I don't love opening on a song. Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are big fans of Wiccan and of Ariana Grande who appreciated that, but
are you against it being his song? Because to me, that's different. That's part of the monologue. And to me, I like it when it opens up with a sketch and then a monologue. The song sequence, I felt like, oh, okay, we're already in the middle of the show, like when they were doing the James Bond one, when they're doing the memorial and stuff like that. Um, I don't know. I would have preferred it to start. That's my opinion. It is the
I'm the
best
same way.
performing video. I also know that if I was a producer, I got to swallow that because how are you not opening with those two? But it has started in my household. They were still getting stuff ready. We're like, oh, they're playing like a medley of stuff. I was like, no, that's them live.
Yeah,
They're already
like
ready. It's not trailers.
practically, I appreciated it because I saw them singing. It was like, all right, I can finish my conversation and get a little bit more gumbo. But like, I think just in
They're still
terms
doing
of
the anthem.
my right, in terms of the way that I want an Oscars to start, I kind of want the host right out the gate. That being said, they didn't make us wait overly long, and they
It wasn't
gave
too
him
long.
plenty of time.
Yeah, I thought he was great, very composed. Do I think it's the funniest he's ever been? No. Do I think he handled
No.
exactly what he was supposed to do and told y'all I ain't getting paid much for this? Exactly. And I think he put the passion to it. And there was one thing I was looking for, and it was that speech when he stops it all and he reminds everybody, what are we here for? Every
Mhm.
year, what are we here to do? We all know what the gig is, right? We make these videos all the time. When I make my LMEs and I like complain about what it is, I always address like I'm not just here complaining. It's also because we love this stuff. This is the time of the year, and I thought he broke that down perfectly, right? Where we all collectively get together. Obviously, it's gonna be something. Just like there is a podcast bigger than us and a reviewer you make like more, they will then become something else. If it wasn't the Oscars, guys, it would be another thing. When you're complaining in a video, oh, why are you covering this? Why are you watching it? Because you are intrigued a little bit too. And it's the
Mhm.
possibility of how it couldn't be better that we congregate every year for it. It's because it's the Oscars that it becomes the end goal thing. And I had described it to my siblings. They had come over yesterday, and they were like, "Why are there so many?" I printed them all out one of these. Of course, I had them all like, let's see who gets the most.
Very
I got
nice.
pretty close. We looked at my mom's. If it was on my mom's list, we're like, "Oh no!" There was a certain point, Zach, where we went over, and my girl was going, "Oh for nothing."
Oh
And we
no.
look at her Demi slip, and we go, "What do you have for best actress?" And she put Demi Moore, and we're like, "I don't know if this will be the only one you get right, or if you just cursed her mom." And well,
So I know who to blame.
oh, that was right there. Look, I think we all gather for this reason of it being a time in the year where we all are acknowledging the best movies. And
Mhm.
sometimes you get people who are going to obviously acknowledge things that you don't like, but that gives you the opportunity to do something like this where maybe you didn't watch our top videos of the year for movies, but you came here and now you're watching us because of the Oscars you're complaining about. So there's good, there's bad, but there's also the hope that it can be better. And I thought Conan brought that for his intro monologue speech, and almost did it even in a better way than a lot of the California love that they were trying to bring, and trying to
Mhm.
like encourage people after everything that happened. Because, with all due respect, you have so much Cali Hollywood footage that the Globes, the indie spirits, everybody already used. So you had an editor for the Oscars going, damn, I'm the last one to make the eulogy. A little rough, but I like that Conan made it more about the movies and that the spirit of the awards was very much go back to the theater.
Exactly. Conan is a guy who has a clear love and passion for entertainment, the whole industry, film. He's a person with a deep appreciation for the arts. There wasn't a lot of the Jimmy Kimmel style making fun of the movies or them being there talking about the movies. Like he understood that this is a celebration of
Mm-hmm.
not just film as an art form, but film as the nervous system of Los Angeles, as the
Yes.
fabric of that community and of people up and down this chain of class. Right? It's not just about the fancy celebrity A-listers in the room, but it's about the
Mm-hmm.
craftsmen who make the films that we all adore. And that's at its best why the Oscars exist. It's why
Exactly.
people like you and I, who started as young cinephiles just looking for places to learn more about film, would get these like glimmers of knowledge from the Academy. We learn more about what goes into production design by the presentations at the Oscars, and we'd get to see those amazing montages where they show you the script set to the scene, and you learn more
What
about
this is
screenwriting. So
about, yeah.
yeah, and I think this was an Oscars that remembered why people watch the Oscars, which is all that we really ask for, right? Like it's
Yeah.
it's a rare time of year where the topic of discussion is debating whether the $6 million movie Anora is better than the $10 million movie The Brutalist. And I think there's something really special about that.
Yeah. I do feel they could have been tighter, right? That's probably the only thing publicly where it's like you got this love. And we'll get more into the announcing and how they did it, but I felt like yesterday, maybe because I was narrating a lot, but I felt my family was appreciating some of the movies that they had tried to catch up with, or things that they didn't know about, and they were like, oh, okay, that's an interesting thing about that filmmaker. Oh, okay, this is where they approached it and whatnot. But I did think that him shouting out the crew was a really good bit to start it off, and he had his Conanisms too. You know, I know Jimmy Kimmel's a jet ski, but Conan would do bits where you're like, only Conan would do this. This is such
the
a
John
Conan
Lithgow
podcast bit. The John Lithgow bit for sure, right? That's a good one. But then he cut away. He do one where he cut away to like the Amazon employee who is now running or whatever, and I'm like,
on the Ring camera.
What is this bit? Yeah, that, and then the thing he followed after that. So he still kept his little touch there. I think he kept it moving pretty fast, and probably one of the big.
I love
early on
when
Sandler.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always happy to see my guy, the Sandman, show up, and him and Conan are friends going way back, so they had a good dynamic. I love a good crowd bit. You could tell Sandler was riding with the moment too when people started saying no as he started to leave.
But,
to
finish up the Globes bit is so cool.
Yeah, bring it full circle. I think it's great.
Just have Sandler speak everywhere. Just have him mic'd up already in the crowd.
Someone at my party said, it's funny how Adam Sandler is kind of turning into Gilbert Gottfried in real time with the kind of nasally high-pitched voice. It's kind of his like. That's kind of his like exaggerated thing, but I love it.
I like it too. That's good. Well,
my
I hope
favorite
thing
thing,
canceled like Gottfried towards the end, but yes.
My favorite thing is when Conan knows he's killing and he does that little like skip dance that he does, which he hit right after the Carla Gascon's publicist joke.
Bro, when he started off with that one, if he was on that energy all night.
Yeah, that was a little like of the Ricky Gervais touching the hot plate stuff, but it was so funny.
When he was doing that, I was like, gotcha. You're funny. You're letting us know you could if you wanted to. They ain't cut that check for you, so you're just doing what you're here to do. That was a crazy one. My name is Jimmy Kimmel when you tweet. Let's go.
I also really liked their pre-taped bit with the what was it called? Stream screens or something like that? Where
we will collect all the screens and put it together. Who holds it? The building. I like that. Be snarky in a creative way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then again, a way that also honors movies and talks about the importance of theaters. You know, it's really in line with the spirit of the show. So I thought Conan was great. You know, I really would.
That was another one where he felt it.
I saw somebody say,
"No, Kendrick."
That Drake disses have almost got an EGOT now.
It's insane.
Yeah, I would be really happy to see Conan return as Oscars host next year. You know, he's not got his talk show anymore. He's doing the podcast. He's doing his travel show on Max. But I think he's got time to be, you know, the host for the next couple of years if the Oscars will have him back and do like a Jimmy Kimmel style 3-in-a-row run. I would be happy.
Yeah, I'd be happy too, but it's one of those things where for him, Conan, you are bigger than the Oscars too, to a certain degree. But I would like to see another one from him in the future. And more than anything, we will be bringing him back up. But I always respect, and Alina always knows that I'm like an old head calling out this man. So when he said, I'm bringing out the GOAT, the best to ever do it, Billy Crystal, yeah. And then Billy Crystal did what he did. Billy Crystal had a line that he said where even he went, damn, that came out of me. And the whole crowd went, ooh. And I'm like, yeah, Mr. Mike Wazowski knows what's up. But Conan, great job. I appreciated it. I wouldn't mind having him another time. But if I were to ask you, though, and I know I'll ask you again, do you think the host can go in a different way? Because the Oscars, I think, have done the most. No host, white host to black host to double host to triple host. What else can they do that's different?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm sure there are innovations to be made in terms of how award shows are presented, but I feel like the further that we stray from the traditional kind of like one host guiding the ceremony, the less it feels like the Oscars to me. It's kind of nice to have somebody who feels like is steering the ship and moving the show along. and can be there to, you know, take control of things when things go off the rails, as they have in some Oscars of recent history.
I was rewatching the Moonlight Oscars. Hollywood's so good at writing stuff, bro.
It's almost like they do it professionally.
It's unbelievable how that night rolled out, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It is like truly like a piece of movie history. Like,
and again, and think of how much more chaotic it would have been had Jimmy Kimmel not been hosting, and we were just left with the empty air.
Yeah, true. Because when he says, "Warren, what did you do?" It actually helps the scene in retrospect. The whole chaos of what was happening. It's unbelievable with how they were able to clear it up with it being such a mess. And you're right; they always find a way to somehow bring it in. But again, they've also had their goofy moments, like ending it on Best Actor for Chadwick and it not going to Chadwick. So the Oscars, they have their ups, they have their downs. We still keeping it with the good?
Yeah. Well, do you want to talk? Do you want to talk about some of the things before we get to the winners around the show? Like, I don't know if you had any favorite looks from the night. Are you ready to rock the Timothée Chalamet banana suit, or?
Hey, you know, I've been on a wait list for that monkey he brought out in Tokyo. So let me pay off that one first, and I'm gonna look into this banana suit here. Look, I explained to you that there was one thing he did wrong, and if you zoom in, you can see specifically what I'm talking about. It's the fact that he needs to stop bringing Jenner, bro. He brought his mama to the SAGs. One, why did you not bring your mom? Where was she sitting, bro? I'm not Club Chalamet or affiliated in any way, shape, or form with that lady, but she has a point, statistically speaking. When he's brought his mom, he's won, and not Jenner.
A note for the future.
Come on, boy. He could have gotten it. His soul almost left when he didn't get it there. He's always clean, though. He's always clean. Yeah,
I loved Coleman's look. That red suit was amazing. But yeah, you're right. He's always the best dressed at the award show.
It's not fair for everybody else.
Yeah. Any other favorite looks, or do you just was Coleman the clear?
Halle Berry looked fantastic.
Oh, right.
She came out to announce, and then did you hear the pre-show?
What was it?
She went up to Adrien Brody on the red carpet.
I saw that clip.
I kiss you now. Zach, ladies, this is for the men. Josh, I see you in the chat. Yeah, you really showed Brody. He didn't even have to win it this time. He got the kiss before the show.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can find the clip, bro. She goes in there. It's and his wife was there too. She goes like up to him and says, you can barely hear it. I haven't been able to like fully break it down. I was gonna bring it into my video, but she like pretty much asked for consent. And then like smooshes with him. And I'm like, damn, Adrien Brody. Only you would lose up. So now I guess he kind of gets to clear that.
Yeah, the Oscars threw it on their social
way.
Media as well.
Bro, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, brings it full circle after 22 years, I guess. I don't know. It was a little confusing because I think she's had some press cycles about how she felt violated by it. But I guess she's taking ownership of it.
Nowhere. Yeah, that's why I also felt weird with it. But hey, their story, they brought it there. He got to win it. Oh, he got an extra one in there. You saw that? He got an extra one on the cheek there.
Ooh.
Right after the hug, and then he said, one more before you go, because I don't know if I'll be back here again in another 22. Hey, good for them right there. Red carpet overall looked pretty good. I guess another one, and it'll leak into the speeches, but I guess what's his name really just wants more kids so he can have more
bracelets to bring to the shows.
Yeah, we'll bring
Kieran Culkin.
Out of outfits for everybody else, nothing else is popping up too much. No.
Yeah, let's talk more about the show then. Were there any of the presentations in particular you enjoyed? Because that is another thing that I think is an underrated aspect of whether or not you get a good Oscars. And I thought this year had a bunch that were pretty funny. Was there one that stood out to you aside from June Squibb, aka Bill Skarsgård, and Scarlett Johansson?
Yo, they've had my lady go out there. I don't know if you got to catch up with the SAGs and the Indie Spirits. At the Indie Spirits, you know the host a little bit more. She's got that show on Hulu.
Is it 80 Bryant?
Thank you. She was
Yeah.
hosting, did a decent job, and she also had a joke about June Squibb. Everyone's getting the substance, and if you inject yourself, you get to look like the beautiful June Squibb. So her whole run has been these substance. No, I'm Bill Skarsgård and makeup type stuff, and she delivers it with so much joy. I love this woman, bro. Am I mistaken? But is she not being directed by?
Yes, Scarlett Johansson is in the middle of
Tell him.
making her directorial debut, which will
Okay, I knew
star
it.
June Squibb.
So I thought this was a cool way to present people without even making it very heavy-handed. Sometimes you see two people and you're like, oh, there's a CW show out or something. This was a nice little pairing. It's like, oh, you don't even know that they're making a movie and it's, a marketing thing. They fit together. Who'd she say she was?
Andy Serkis.
Okay, yeah. There you go. That's that picture.
It's a
Yeah,
good
yeah, yeah.
bit.
It's a good, yeah, I liked it. It was good, and she's fantastic. So,
Yeah.
again, this will be her second leading role because Thelma was her first after 90-something years.
Right.
So,
I
hey,
really
always
liked
shout out.
Amy Poehler's bit where she was presenting the screenplays. She had two
All due
good
respect.
jokes.
All due respect. She came out and I went, whoa. Amy Poehler looking fire, dude. That Inside
Mhm.
Out 2 check hit, or I don't know what, but she looks freaking glamorous, bro. Bless
Aging
her
very
soul.
gracefully, if I may
Now
say so.
take it away. Yeah, she was so funny.
Yeah, so funny. In the words of William Shakespeare, writing's a bitch. Solid joke. Followed it up with how hard it is to find an adapter for adapted screenplay, which got the kind of like slow laughter through the room reaction. It was really solid stuff.
Yeah, this is coming off the SNL bit where they killed that stuff too. Thank you for asking the question we wrote for you in the crowd. her, her and Amy, I've been missing. They've done a good job at not overstaying their bit, but I missed them. I want them back for something. Please come back.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, she was
they
good.
are on a tour together. We could go see them together.
Really?
Yeah.
Doing stand up or what?
I think so, or telling stories or something like that.
Oh. I have one presenter that they missed. Everyone was saying it. I love when someone says they have the ability to do the funniest thing at the Oscars, and then everybody says they have the funniest bit. You guys are all comedians together. The funniest bit would still have been Gal Gadot presenting the wrong award. Man, if they would have had her present one specific award, I do think that would have been the funniest thing.
Yeah, apparently it was too good to be true that they did not get Gal Gadot for best documentary. Instead, she and Rachel Zegler had to just pretend that they can stand each other.
Samuel L. Jackson, when they came out to announce, I thought he was pretty funny as well. They did a good bit. No, bro. Bo and Yang. There was the ones that I thought did the best was the split between one individual coming out and talking to everybody. Where I felt
Yes.
only with RDJ did it work. I preferred when it was 4 people speaking to everybody else. And then I still thought it should have been tighter. Rehearsals were not as good as they could have been, but let's start with the independent ones. When one person had to say something for everybody else, you're relying too much on the one presenter. RDJ could do it because it feels like it comes from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
But when
and he's
those
got
are
like
still
a kind of loose nature too that makes it more conversational. Whereas
Thank you.
when like
Yeah,
some people really
right?
feel like they're reading off the prompter.
Well, she
Downey's
was.
very good
Divine
at not
Joy
making it
Ralph
feel
was
that way.
like, yeah, because he's looking at you, and then Joy Ralph was literally looking. It's like you are the greatest in the world, and it was like,
Right.
that does take away. Come on, we're here for performing. Like, if it wasn't the microscope that we have on this, and honoring performances, it probably would have stood out more. But the costume.
I
one,
agree with you
where
though that it was cool when they did the 5 people presenting the
Yeah.
nominees thing. I think they've only done that really for the acting awards in the past, but here is a really interesting way to bring actors from the different movies on stage,
Oh,
like when
dude.
Bowen Yang was presenting the Wicked costumes, but B,
That's
like
cool.
make the presentations a little more personal. Like it was
Yeah.
really interesting to hear them talk about
Exactly.
the actors talk about their own movies and the craftsmen from their
I
own
love that.
movies in that way.
Yeah, because I agree with you. Usually, it's been the person before, and it's like they may not like you; they just have to honor you, right? And it don't really
Right.
mean anything. The RDJ ones, when they're by themselves, they also go shout out you, shout out you, shout out you. Winner's this. I do not like how fast they announced the winner in those cases, as opposed to this, everybody speaks and then one person announces it for everybody. But even here, right before Bowen, it was I'm blinking on her name, but from Gladiator 2, where she took an extra beat. so the entire thing moved to the next camera for Bowen,
Mm-hmm.
and then she went back to speak, and it did this little awkward thing where I was like, damn, okay, they could have made it tighter, but I agree with you. I love them being able to say a personal story because they're speaking to somebody. And then it's better than what we were saying, a CW performer, or thank you, Connie Nielsen. Thank you, Josh. It's better than having your regular performer for an upcoming thing people won't remember. It's people who are a part of the movies. These people weren't nominated, right? I loved hearing our girl talk, Lily Depp, because she didn't get nominated. And this was her one time to go up there and talk about the costumes and even explain it when she was saying the whole story is me breaking free from the costumes that you were showing was restricting me. I was like, bro, you giving an explainer up there. I love the passion for these things. And I thought these worked out pretty well.
Definitely. Just sticking with the presentations for a second, I also thought the Ben Stiller bit was really funny. And, also specific to the category since they were talking about production design.
Why is everyone copying Sabrina Carpenter, though, Zach? Why is everyone...
Don't they know the original recipes? Ben Stiller, also kind of an underrated Oscars presenter. Remember when he came out in the full Avatar makeup?
Yo, what? 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 No, I don't. Wait, I do remember this bit. Like, was not in the back of my memory. What the hell?
He also had that one a few years ago where he came out in the full green screen suit and acted like his head was floating. Oscars legend, low key.
It's Ben. It's Ben.
Yeah.
You caught up with Severance?
Yeah. I think we'll get into that hopefully at some point soon.
I don't know what's going on, bro, but bless his soul. Bless his soul.
Yeah. I mean, as like
What
OG
year is
Lost
this,
fans, I feel like we come into Severance with some history with puzzle box shows that maybe makes.
I ain't even judging the show. I'm judging all these explainers I keep hearing. Everybody's got a thought, bro.
So yeah, what else do we want to talk about in regards to the show? Should we talk about the music a little bit? Because
I was literally gonna pitch that for.
They did not include performances of the best original songs as they often do. Instead, we got a couple different performances. You already mentioned that they opened with the Wicked medley of sorts with Ariana and Cynthia performing. They got the Defying Gravity run in there right away. We also got this tribute to James Bond that started with Margaret Qualley dancing.
Bro. We're gonna miss
right. With another thing we haven't had a chance to talk about on the podcast yet is the sale of Bond.
All right, ready? Yay, nay. 3, 2, 1.
Nay.
Big freaking down. We'll vent later.
Yeah.
I heard a good bit. Why did it feel like it was a funeral? Why did it feel like it was a eulogy? And someone responded it's because they sold to Prime.
Amazon Prime, big loser on the Oscars night, getting made fun of by Conan.
You ruined Nickel Boys. You ruined so many other things, bro. Bad campaigns this year. Horrible. Okay, the Wicked girls we get. What did you think of this? She trying to be a Bond girl?
I kind of liked the dance. I would have been cool if it would have been like, video montage leading into dance number and then end. But then we got, like this rotation of poor versions of the themes being performed by people. Like,
I don't want to say poor, but it was not good.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying these people are untalented. In fact, Lisa, Doja Cat, Ray, all very talented, clearly. Maybe they just didn't get proper rehearsal time because Doja Cat at least was not even singing in the same pitch as the orchestra.
She was not, but I still thought she was better than like Ray also doing that. And we had just heard Ray at the Grammys when we were together. Yeah. And I was like, guys, this is it. And of course, she was like really playing up the Amy Winehouse bit. So my whole family was like, she looked like she's co-oping this. And it wasn't the best Ray I've seen either. I don't know. Nah. I was also left a little underwhelmed for this random speech that you're giving for a person who's not dead. It was a really weird 10-minute buffer for the show. I didn't get it. Also, Lisa, y'all need to stop pushing this girl everywhere, bro. Come on. Enough. I told Alina, I was like, they put her
Blackpink is in your area, Arturo.
Dude, she's in White Lotus. And like, why? Why? I don't get it.
Yeah. I think this is like a better idea in theory, but then when it becomes like a really extended thing in the middle of the show and we're waiting for more awards, like when you are going to cut into the middle of the show, I think it's got to be a bit briefer than this. And it just felt too elongated. And also it's a little weird that like Bond's legacy now is the music because it won Best Original Song at the Oscars a couple times, when really that's like not the main draw for Bond.
It shouldn't be. I agree with you, but it's almost like they're willing to finally say it. Hey guys, this is really the only thing Bond ever wins awards for, and that's what I was like. I guess right when you really look at the logistics of it, nobody else realizes that they do. So that's why they decided to tribute the music when it's supposed to be everything else, the costumes and all the like. But yeah, I agree with there was C. Henry in the comments talking about if you're gonna remove the songs, then you're not even saving time if you're replacing them with others. So I didn't get the exchange.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say like at least you're doing a trade-off when the songs aren't good, replacing them with songs that are at least in theory better. Like Skyfall is a better song than any of the songs that were nominated last night. But if you're not giving us Adele,
that's
yeah,
true.
I
If you're
don't.
not giving us Adele, then what's the point? But hey,
Yeah.
speaking of music, we got Wiley in the chat. I don't know if you saw it right there. He gave a super chat over here. I
Oh,
like
shout
how
out
they did
Wiley.
best OG song. Going behind the scenes and telling how it was used was great. But Like a Bird should have won. I agree with you. Easily the best one out of the bunch. Would have made one of my personal picks as well. Not my personal favorite, but it was the best one there. The category was the worst this year by far. Wiley, when I'm looking at the screen rooting for Diane Warren, we are down bad.
Yeah,
Did
right.
you hear a tweet?
She'll be back like the Terminator.
Go. I'm sorry, bro. What's that mean? The person you hate just said something decent. I liked it. I liked it, bro. It was funny.
Yeah, I was not familiar with your game, Diane Warren.
I like that, bro. Chin up. And I don't like Diane Warren, but
Here,
I would have
here's
preferred
the quote.
her.
It is what it is. I'm happy to be here. I'm the Terminator of the Oscars. I'll be back. I'm coming back. You can't get rid of me.
That's kind of cool.
It's kind of fire. It's kind of hard.
Personifies why she's so annoying, but also that's the dopest thing a loser could say. 17-time loser. Diane
I don't
Warren,
know.
give it up.
Dude, if I was nominated 17 times and lost every single one, I would not want to win. That's you're Diane Warren. Like
Hell
you are
yeah.
an adjective for awards shows failures, but like you're a singular achievement.
I die with that.
Yeah.
You just show up for the free meals. I like that you brought this one up. Again, very
The
much
Queen Latifah
involved,
performance?
yeah, with all of the contributions that obviously Quincy had for movies. I do think they did a better one at the Grammys. Kind of unfair to compare the two, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of those where you're getting bombarded with a lot of tributes in music. So you just switched out the songs to still be songs, but now we're bombarded with tributes. So there was way too many tributes, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's it. The tributes, when there's too many of them, I think make the other tributes feel less important. And especially when we've
You got
spent
it.
like 10 minutes on Bond and then later we'll get to Quincy Jones.
Yeah, and then Quincy's only got one while they had like 3 crazy singers, but it's like one guy died. Bond didn't. So yeah, you're almost the balance isn't there, and then you get what, the firefighters to come out and you're paying tribute to them, saying jokes. It feels a little unbalanced in what they're going for there, but overall, I'd feel that's my bit for most of the performers, for the host. I'm trying to see if I can remember anybody else who came out that's really jogging my mind. I'll bring them up if I do, but where should we begin? For the winners, the
Should we start with the
losers.
first winner of the night? Probably the one that we expected the most.
Yay or
Kieran
nay
Culkin.
on the speech? 3.
I like the speech. Was it a little too forward for you?
I think it's adorable. I think it's cute. It's everything. A little bit of me thinks it's weird.
I do think it's a little weird the way some people talk about having kids
Yes.
as a person without kids. So maybe
Yes.
that's my own cross to bear.
when people
But
tell you, hey, we're trying, I think it's the weirdest way for them to tell you that they are not using protection and that everybody in the kitchen table needs to know that they're doing the sloppy. Like, it is very weird, right? All of a sudden you're having kids and it's normal for you to tell me that. No, it's not. I feel that for a lot of things. When people start telling you the sexuality, it's like, bro, this is not kitchen talk. That's a personal thing. I thought he brought it out, made it everyone's business. I think it's cute. I think it's there. I also think it's weird when your wife looks at the camera on national television after you put her on national television and said, I've been bringing you to all these shows. This movie, this award I said I didn't care about. Shocker. I did want it the whole time. Here's the big reveal. How am I not restructuring his entire approach to this movie now? As he's saying, I've been waiting to be up on this stage to tell you that I remember what leaf you were on the park. And I have the witness bit got me, bro. That's when you know someone's really on something. And I know the witness I had on hand. You owe me a fourth child here in front of the whole world. It does go into a little weird category. A little weird, in my opinion.
I feel like if
Caitlyn did that to you, you'd be livid.
Probably, for sure. Yeah, I think because he's got this sort of like impish jokester nature that it goes down a little more smoothly than, say, if Adrien Brody delivered the exact same sentiment.
Hit it on the nail, bro. Exactly. It's because he's so cute that we don't see it weird, but she would have given you the third if she wanted to, bro. I don't know.
I also think the ye of little faith helped sell it a little bit. But that was a pretty funny. It sounded like an ad-lib to me. That was pretty funny.
It sounded interesting to me because it was like his wife was like, I know you don't care for these things, right? So because I don't want to have a kid, when you get it. And then she looked at the man she fell in love with and went, why? You really want these kids? And that's where it brings me back to the like, look, it's weird. It's her body. Yeah. But you as a couple, obviously you see that this man wears those things like crazy. That he wants more kids so that he can fill them up. There's something about, him being such a proud daddy that also gets to me. And the idea that
from a big family.
Exactly. The fact that, because it's the reason he's known for being this memorizer of lines is because he's been a kid actor. It's why all of the older actors that he acts with are always so mad. And yet this man's never memorized a speech, right? He's been talking this entire time, never memorizing anything. But I love how he said, my memory's so good, I remember exactly when you promised it to me. And I'm here asking for it. I don't know. I'm of multiple emotions. It's beautiful from an outside perspective, from an inside perspective. Leave my girl alone.
Yeah, I mean, we have a very different relationship with the idea of having kids, so maybe we just gotta look internally about some of that too.
Look at that too. That's why I'm surprised. I was like, I felt you would have been going like, hey, don't force kids on another person. I like what Julie's saying right here. For a second, I thought he was gonna gonna apologize for the Emmys one, and then he was like, "No, I want 4 when we don't even got 3." That's longer than a movie, my G. So they got a lot of work to do in pre-production.
I agree with Melanie, who said that she wants to know why or what Kieran said to Jeremy at the beginning that got muted.
What'd you take? I think I got some.
I mean, I just thought it was an F-bomb, and then I couldn't do any lip reading. What'd you get?
I thought it was him saying, like, I haven't mentioned you this entire time. And what he had said, the only part that got through was that out of all the nominees, including himself, he was the effing best. And that because of that, I know I'm not supposed to have favorites, but it's like it's been you because it's Jeremy's award. This man lied. Again, conspiracy art. My man, we even put it in supporting Zach because he wanted to make sure that his wife was still awake when he said, give me the kid. I got a whole conspiracy on this.
I mean,
anyway, it's Jeremy. I thought it was beautiful for him to be like, Jeremy, I know you love this stuff, bro. We all know you love this stuff. Boy, it should have been yours too. I love you. I liked it. That was
same, and especially because I think so much of the weird nature of people's relationship to Jeremy Strong as an actor, all the stuff they put on Jeremy Strong as like a guy who takes himself too seriously, a guy who can't have a laugh at his own expense. A lot of that is because Kieran Culkin talked about how annoying it was to work with him. And I think it's nice to see that like there is clearly a lot of love between them in spite of any difficulties it was working together. Like they are these guys who had this long relationship on this iconic show. And I think there's so much respect there. So as a fan of both of them and as a fan of Succession and as a fan of their work in movies, I was touched to see that particularly.
Same. Perfectly put.
Yeah. So I enjoyed seeing Kieran kick off the night, winning supporting actor in
And
supporting,
RDJ giving it to him
and RDJ giving it to him. That was cool.
because he looked at him like, "Ooh, boy, you're as slick as I am."
Did you catch the thing during RDJ's presentation where he mentioned it was the Oscars where he was nominated for Chaplin, where Jeremy Strong was staying outside in the bleachers? Like that's another cool full circle thing with these awards.
That's why I love Jeremy Strong too. He
Yeah,
is
he
that
loves
guy,
this
bro.
shit.
That's why,
Yeah.
real quick tangent there. Jeremy Strong immediately going to Timmy after that SAG speech. You know the SAG speech.
Yes.
I'm the best. I'm trying to be one of the greats. I think it is also a matter of discussing things like that, where it is a Jeremy Strong puts himself out there. Yes, his boy kind of ruined him a lot, but it's the way he speaks about things. That Dunkin' Donuts bit. People think I take myself too seriously, so I did it to prove that I don't. And then you saw the second bit
Where
when I
he
walked in. And
explained
they he explained what was it? Please, please take it
he
away.
did an interview about how he's not taking this seriously.
And then said what? The bathtub they brought in was a regular bathtub, which means I would have to have been laying down. I needed a circular bathtub in which I could rise from the ground. I'm glad he's not beating the allegations. My G, you're a nerd. Embrace it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Alina and I look at each other. We go, he's right. We rewatched the Duncan commercial. He needed to be like this. A bathtub wouldn't have worked. They didn't understand, Zach. They didn't understand what Jamie needed.
He understands how to give the best performance possible, and he will achieve it.
In any way, capacity. Hey, Kieran,
Yeah.
I hope you get your kid because clearly that's why you the category Friday here. You're one of my favorite performances, but Jeremy was the best in this category.
Yeah,
and
Jeremy
it
was the
sucks.
best for sure. The other supporting actor award went to Zoe Saldaña for Emilia Perez. Zoe became the first person of Dominican descent to win an Oscar, which she shouted out during her
Playing Mexican.
speech. How did you feel about her speech? Because I don't know, I'm not trying to do the Anne Hathaway thing, but I feel like
No, I
there's
got you
so
already.
much she's so
Explain it to him.
performative.
I know exactly what you mean.
Right, like it's just like the conjuring the edge of tears for like the emotional climax of your speech just didn't feel super authentic to me. And granted, like, look, these are actors, they know how to perform, that's what they're supposed to do for us. It just, I don't know, it didn't seem like the most natural acceptance speech I've ever seen.
I agree with you completely because as we lead to Brody, we're going to have to start discussing, can someone be mad talented and also be like the fakest thing you've ever seen? She kills this one emotion. You'll know it from the speeches, but I'll explain it when we've seen it in movies. In Avatar. You lied to me, Sully. And then comes back to normal. When she does that in movies, it is the greatest thing. And when you see her do it in speeches, it's like, how are you zoning in and then coming back out? To the regular person, that playing of emotions almost feels like it's all performative. But what the hell are we honoring her for, right? It's a weird thing, you know, where it's like, of course, that is also what it is. As we get closer to Brody, Brody was also cast for kind of the unlikable things that he does. And for here, I thought she worked her ass off for it. I think she earned it. I agree with you completely. It is a performative type of response. It is exactly the things you were supposed to do, hitting on every point you were supposed to. But she earned it. Good for her.
Definitely, yeah.
We got to shout out the ones who should have, though. The ones who should have, though. Because I see right here, Josh mentioned Monica thoroughly. Another category where I was hoping other people were going to get it. Isabella Rossellini. A lot of y'all who got those nominations were putting in good work. You will have futures. She's got her on lock.
Yeah. I mean, look, Zoe has contributed to a lot of movies we really loved. So it's nice to see her achieve something, even if it's for a movie that we're more mixed on. And I don't really think she's the problem with that movie either,
exactly.
even if
best part of
there's some category fraud going on.
That
was not the only award.
For this next category.
Yeah, that was not the only award Emilia Perez won. It also took home Best Original Song and perhaps cringiest speech.
Terrible. But can I play devil's advocate?
Please.
He only won one award. The director that you see right there to your right, Mr. Jacques. What was his full name? Jacques, whatever. I like Jacques. I've said he's made some really good movies. Like that's the problem. It's not just like pretty good. He's made some of the best movies. A Prophet, it's one of the best out there. So it really hurts me to say that I saw him go up there and I went, why is he going up there? Wait, he has a credit on the song? Oh my gosh, he's going to be able to speak. No way this lady's going to do what she's about to do. I told everyone for my Golden Globe segment that they were really weird and cringy, and someone had the audacity to say, I didn't see it. Do you see it now?
It's not tonight. Ooh.
Zach, do you ever process something and for the sake of the cringe, your brain, it's like your brain took a retainer for them and went, no, that's not what they meant. I had to read Ehrlich's tweet before the thought even crossed my mind that this lady was trying to do a sing-along thinking people knew the song from Emilia Perez. My brain couldn't even go there. That's
Same.
what she was
I
doing.
thought she was just doing a performance. She really thought she was going to lead something. Like the level of like cluelessness and lack of awareness of your surroundings on display.
Telling you, people went back to my other video and said, hey, no, I'm sorry, you were right. I said they were weird. Unbelievable stuff. And I say all this to be that Jock never got to speak into the mic.
Right. So low-key hero.
Really weird. I don't know. It's what a mess. What a mess.
Pretty ridiculous. And it felt like Jock was trying to angle for getting on the mic a little bit there while she was singing.
He wanted it. He ran up. I think he went back to go get something. He was expected to close out the speech. Another one, because I don't know if you'll bring it, but I do want to bring it up here. Dune had two sound ones, right? It was some technical ones. Dune one sound, and then they, ironically, cut the sound on the sound guy. So when they won VFX, I thought, like immediately afterwards, I thought it would have been the dopest thing to bring the sound guy out. They didn't do it.
Pull like
the Dune team hates each other. Spread the news.
Right. There's no solidarity in Arrakis.
But yeah, I thought that was bogus. The one person to get cut out last night was a sound guy.
Yeah. One more thing about Emilia Perez, just before we move on, that it was nominated for 13 Oscars, notably the most Oscars ever nominations received for an international film. And it leaves the Oscars tied for the record for most losses on a single Oscar night with 11.
Really?
Only won 2 out of the 13 awards it was nominated for.
What an interesting side to be on. After all the hate, it ends up taking home something that would have not happened if we didn't get all crazy about it getting 13.
Yeah.
Without 13, you don't get 11 losses. Wow.
Exactly. So it's
biggest loser.
Making history every chance it can.
That's good. Look at that. Hey, we made it through the other side.
There
was some though that it was going to sneak with, and I know we'll get to them, but there was some Emilia Perez wins that were like supposedly locks, and somehow they weren't. I think those were some of the biggest shocks of the night for me.
Definitely. You mentioned Dune briefly, but it did pick up those 2 awards. It both times that's been nominated, I believe it won Best Sound and Best Visual Effects. Although we thought this one might have gone to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. You know what I realized is that none of those recent Planet of the Apes movies have won Best Visual Effects at the Oscars.
Sounds like you're getting into something, because they no reason that none of those movies won when I can replay any other ones from the circus one, especially the last 2. And they
so I think something that speaks to is something that occurred to me with the way that the Oscars played out here, in that most of the movies that won awards won multiple awards. There were very few movies that won just one award. And it feels like more and more the energy around the Oscars just sort of concentrates on a few movies, so that even if a movie like Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which has perhaps the best visual effects of the year, but is not going to get nominated for other categories, just sort of doesn't really even get consideration there.
Yeah, this is what we always say. You know you can trust our opinion because I have Dune well above Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. The category is VFX, and even in that, something I think Dune excels in. I'm happy they won. Man, what they were doing, just even in the bit they showcased to you up on screen for the nominee submission. Way better, in my opinion. But
yeah.
Well, Dune did pick up so many more awards for Dune Part 1. They still had that director snub. They repeated again here with all the nominations and a director snub, but this time only took home 2. Does that change any momentum you think is coming for Messiah, which they still on the horizon?
I'm trying to ignore what people say about Messiah being the weird book and that maybe making it a harder sell to Academy voters. Just thinking like Denis has been so good at adapting these movies. What if he does it again?
Of course.
I think that a lot of Dune's misfortune comes from having been released so early in the year that people forgot about how much they liked that movie, because it felt
How?
like it was,
But how
I
can
don't know. I mean,
everywhere all at once get away with that? That's what confuses me. You are not wrong. I have the same thing
mhm.
too. So my question is, what happened? What what are you running that's differently?
Yeah, I mean, I think the difference between those two movies particularly is that Dune is like a blockbuster that everybody rushed out to see, and Everything Everywhere All at Once was an
Good
indie
call.
film that slowly built word of mouth, and
You could see, yeah.
lots of people were only catching up with by September, October, November of that year,
So
rather than.
Oppenheimer, a mixture of massive indie film in a
Mhm.
blockbuster IMAX scale. So don't put it before the summer then. If you're dealing with a
Maybe,
blockbuster.
maybe, and maybe this is just like pseudoscience, dumb
No,
educated
you're not
guesses,
because
but
no, you said Dune came out earlier for 2,
mhm,
less awards. Dune Part 1 came out October. Much
exactly,
more
and it did
awards.
better
So
and felt like it had a lot of energy around the Oscars. I don't know. I think
Mad Max, I'd
maybe
have to
it's.
go see that. So that's another one. Mad Max
Mhm.
a lot more. Same exact
See, I think
team
that one
for
also.
Fury Road and or for Furiosa and nothing.
Yeah, I think that also came out a little early. So I don't know.
Well, no,
I
no,
don't know
no,
if
no.
it's tried
That
and
one for
true, but
sure came out later than Furiosa,
mm,
which came out way earlier. That's what I'm saying. Just like
you're
Dune,
right.
they did the
Actually,
same
yeah,
thing. Yeah. So it seemed to have applied and hurt that one even more.
right.
Like Furiosa didn't
So
get
maybe
anything, which is
blockbusters have to
crazy.
wait a little longer until the height of the summer or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Different place for them.
You were alluding to awards that Amelia Perez did not win. I think the most notable one that it did not win is Best International Feature, which ended
Shout
up
out
going to
Brazil.
Brazil's I'm Still Here. It's the first Oscar win from Brazil, a legendary country with a lot of incredible cinema to its name. So kind of crazy that it's taken this long for Brazil to get one of these, but
I said that
a
out loud
exciting
because everyone was
campaign.
saying, "Yeah, this is the first. I'm the first. This is the first." And I was like, "There's no way this is the first. No, no, there's no way." So I just said no in my mind. That is an insane stat, bro. And it
Yeah,
is the
man.
one I think award last night, other than a big acting one, where I literally was like shocked, and everyone looked at me and they're like, "Wow, you're surprised?" I was like, "Yeah, I did not think he was gonna." Like, I don't even remember his speech because I just couldn't believe it upset Emilia Perez.
Yeah,
That was
I
an
thought
upset.
that was something that I found interesting as well, because sometimes I wonder whether or not certain scandals or certain ideas
You
only
think so?
really play out online, right? Like, do I think sometimes things like like the all the controversy around Anora that's dominating film Twitter right now. Like, does that actually impact voters or not? And I guess we can say for sure that the Carla Gascon stuff elevated to the level that it really impacted the decisions voters made.
To the point that that's the only thing they joked about in the Oscars.
That's the reputation of
That
the movie now.
that was apparent. The AI for the Brutalist was not brought up once.
Right.
The stuff for Adrien Brody was not brought up. Torres. Who else? Who else do we have doing a bunch of garbage from any of the other movies? There was stuff for Demi. There was stuff for a lot of people.
Hmm.
None of that was made a joke in the show except for the Carla one, and I felt like I think and I know there is a respect in Hollywood of what you mention and you don't mention. You do this from press interviews to everything else. For Carlas to have gotten a pass, I thought was interesting. We won't poke the bear at any of the other ones, but for this, thank you, Intimacy Court. Like, and we'll get to Anora, but it's crazy to think the PGA. Have you ever read the PGA wikis yet?
No, the producers guild.
The Producers Guild of America. The allegation section is bigger than the honorees. So just know that as we lead into who they've honored, which I think is great, but I don't know what they like to be honoring from this man over here. But I think that's a good thing to know. What do the Oscars think is okay to make fun of? And that's why I think the opposite. I think the online thing did affect. Her tweets did change the outcome to this award you're showing me right here. Because I don't think it would have won it. This did not win anywhere else. There is no reason. This is the one time for international, non-English, whatever your festival, your award show wants to call it. It went to Amelia everywhere else except here. And to me, I think that has to do with the backlash.
Yeah, for sure. We have a question in the live stream from Jose. We comparing racism to AI use, not in terms of their impact, just specifically in terms of their impact on the Oscars races. They're not equal.
I had a goofy
equal
one
platforms.
yesterday when you know how it's supposed to be. They're not at war. You got Porcelain War, and you got what's the other one? What one? No Other Land. So it's
Yeah.
like it's not war, it's an invasion. Now, because you got to get it more, it's not an invasion. It has to be a gen. Invasion is the style in which you go into something. The semantics, I think, is crazy. Kind of like this. No one is comparing that. The mention was what is brought up in a show, what is not brought up in a show. And
Yeah,
in
what is
mentioning
actually
something-
playing out as on these Oscars
Yeah,
races? Yeah.
over something else, because hers was also above racism. Hers was the idea that they don't want to be connected to that. So the comparison being made is from the Oscars themselves. That tainted your movie, and we don't want to be connected to that. Anything Adrien and every other winner's done is okay in our book. That's what that is.
Yeah.
I'd look at the categories if you think that comparing things. They do put different movies against each other.
Yeah. Another pretty shocking win, I would say, was in the Best Documentary Feature category, in which No Other Land took home the top prize. This is in spite of American distributors not opting to pick up the movie for their fears over backlash that it might inspire. Pretty stunning victory, I think, for this film, but it's clearly the film that's captured the most attention of any documentary this year.
I think it not winning would have been a bigger deal, considering how it was picking up every single award. And like I said, the only time that it was split was when they were going for Porcelain War. So it did become
Producers Guild, which is why I was thinking that this wouldn't play out this way. Yeah.
So that's what I was breaking down in the comparison that I just made, in where it does become this weird thing of what are you campaigning, right? Demi's story was it's a legacy award for her. It's what she's done. Anora with the Independence, all these different things. When you have a real movie, what are you pushing if not the story that is being told there of these invasions? In which case, it then becomes like a weird battle of like, you know, pick my movie over the other one when they're all really important. I feel Doc's like the craziest thing to pit up against each other, because you're almost awarding whose story is better than the other people's. And it's a little weird, but No Other Land?
Yeah, I mean, it's especially weird this year, in which so many of the documentaries feel so personal, right? Like, I think in the years past,
especially Black Box Diaries,
a movie like Black Box Diaries would have been directed by an outside party, and now we're getting these films.
Yeah.
She's directing a story about her own history of sexual assault. No Other Land isn't a movie about you know, what's happening in Gaza. It's a movie from the perspective of a citizen, right? Like it's an interesting situation that these documentaries have themselves in, where we're almost, like you said, judging these different people's stories as part of it.
Because when I had mentioned who announced this, it was Samuel L. Jackson. Because they were so funny.
With Selena
Samuel
Gomez.
Jackson, Selena Gomez in the back, when these two, an Israeli and a Palestinian, are saying all this stuff, and they're in the back. Did you see them?
Yeah, very measured reactions.
They wanted to get out of the frame so bad. It was hilarious. But he came out, and Samuel Jackson was like, I love documentaries because they do all the work for you. You get all the information. You are set. And you are correct that in every other year, there's a lot of movies that get nominated for documentary where it's someone reporting, someone documenting someone else's story. It's his story. Half the story that I've told you, because I don't think you caught this one yet, is, like, when they're capturing stuff, it's good. 20% is him vaping with the boy venting, right? It's that personal. Like you brought up with Black Box, like you brought up with Ukraine. It is those artists. And part of me, again, I like these movies. I am for the art, but I also wonder, damn, did they start moving to campaigning, hey, yo, all of these other type of documentaries, they won't make it. It needs to be a personal touch. That's what they're reading. And we've mentioned this in the past of, are there temperatures in different Oscar years? And if the temperatures were different movies have won that year, right? We're always discussing that. Like, would past winners have won if the attitude was today's attitude back then? Would things switch around? Obviously, you know, those are all what ifs, but I sometimes wonder how that approaches also the nominees. What are you submitting? When do you go not lead but supporting, right? All those are things we know that are affected. And I think you called out a good one. Documentaries have gone more personal.
Definitely. I also didn't want to missed the fact that you mentioned the speeches were excellent for Netherland in particular. I've seen some people quibbling with some of the nuances of the speech, but I feel like I saw similar stuff regarding Jonathan Glazer's speech last year, and then the public reacted to it, and people seem to come around to the idea that Jonathan Glazer gave a good speech. I don't know. I feel like sometimes we quibble over what?
Hit dogs holler.
Right? Like we spend so much time
micromanaging, like just
micromanaging,
yeah.
like needling the little specifics of speeches, critiquing small elements of what is a larger idea. And I don't know if it necessarily helps, particularly when you contrast this speech to
they're calling you, bro.
Generally apolitical.
The state is calling you straight up.
Trying to shut us down.
Damn, that's funny. It's Gal Gadot herself.
I'll call you back.
You're on it. Yeah, you're on it.
Yeah, no, just like you compare this speech to the generally apolitical nature of the rest of the speeches for most of the night, and it's just leagues ahead of what other people are saying. I don't. It strikes me as like perhaps self-defeating to be, petty about the specifics of the speech.
To complain about the showcase, you don't care about the issue at all. You're going,
right.
Hey, did you guys forget that I'm a person who can contribute nothing to a conversation? And so you do. It adds absolutely nothing. And I also would never, when someone calls out, "Ayo, racist," go, huh? Don't be a damn idiot, bro. Why would you comment against that? Like you're saying, comments against Jonathan Glazer's speech, and then when everyone realizes, no, why would you even take it that way? You just pretend like you never even said anything. And that's
especially
the world that we're in. Shame, it could be a good thing, bro. Some of y'all don't have shame. Shame would help you not make the same mistake again.
Exactly. Also, these people are not politicians. They're people. They don't have to.
Well, okay. What was a slip up?
I think lots of people have different perspectives on how we can truly achieve solutions to,
But some people also don't think there's a problem.
The conflict.
Like someone gave a speech,
right?
also later on, where they didn't think they were perpetrators. So that's where you then get into this other realm, right? Where it's even stickier. It's like, oh, well, of course it's gonna be a problem. You don't even think you're bringing a problem.
Yeah, I think we're at such a desperate need for any kind of empathy that critiquing the style of that empathy is perhaps just not
what are we doing?
Serving of our greater purpose.
That's so weird. Exactly. Anyways, then there's people who just talk about it and don't know anything. They just got to get their tweets up. They got that check mark, baby.
I also like Luna mentioning people don't take into account nervousness. Why nitpick when it was a great speech? Just not exactly what Twitter people wanted. Yeah, that was Jonathan Glazer's hands were like shaking last year. If we forgot.
You're bringing up that these people are humans. They are not. They are robots. They all get replaced. Zach and I watched the ceremony where they get into their lizard suits and they walk in. June Squibb wasn't lying. They're all just played by bits. Yeah, we start diminishing these people as people. When I was breaking down the Anora thing for my brother last night, I was giving him like the explainer straight up, and he was like, without getting into too many spoilers, the reaction that Anora has, I was like, well, she's still a human. That's why she reacted that way. And he goes, oh, that is right. And then she has the best performance, and you go, oh, it's those little things that matter. Why do we throw that out the window? Once we see them doing it, it's like, yeah, they're nervous people. They're up there for the first time. There was that short that won, and they said they almost didn't make it. They had a goofy one too, where he goofed a bit. He told her, "Hey, read it, my wife." She read it, and then he took the phone away from her. He goofed a little bit.
No, you're not reading it right.
You're not reading it right. Yeah, my man had a little bad one. Hey, if you're in a relationship, yeah, he took the bad stick right there. I've seen some people really harp on them, but that's another one where I also see their story and I'm going, are you really harping on them? Or is it a good way to be like, hey, let's diminish your story because of a little awkward speech you gave? I don't know.
No, I think people are really unkind to people who are maybe not used to that kind of spotlight trying to, comport themselves to the moment. But it was a bit awkward for sure.
That doesn't even have a face? That's usually how it happens, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Make fun of the people who do show it when you don't have to. But I thought they gave a great speech, and I think you're really putting a lot on the line. Because, again, if you can show it one more time, we are in a year where it's not just the documentarian. It's the subject themselves speaking.
Exactly. Yeah. And to be a little more specific about some of the quibbles I think people had with the speeches, I think specifically people didn't like the equating of the October 7th attacks to what's happened to the Palestinian people and since then. And I think that's an uncharitable reading of what he was saying as well. So I thought it was a brave moment in a ceremony that didn't have a lot of brave moments. So I was pretty happy to see that response.
Question. Since reportedly, allegedly, supposedly, you know who runs Hollywood.
We're going full Mel Gibson here. I know you're a fan of Flight
really
Fan,
smart,
but...
bro. Damn, that's good. They're even giving some to the enemies. They're evolving. Watch the movie. Watch Bye Bye Tiberius. Watch so many other movies that are coming out. I told you my picks for Sundance this year that I think are going to be coming up for next year. That'll be there as well. Also, isn't it funny that out of everyone in the Brutalist, it is the bad guy who's the only one wearing a pin? Next category, Zach.
Makes you think. No, I shouldn't say that. Flow won Best Animated Feature, which was a huge surprise for some people.
You think so?
Because,
yeah, for some people.
Yeah, but not for us as fans of Latvian cinema.
I know you were wondering, Zach. That is the first Latvian film to win anime.
Yeah.
I know you were like, wait, was there no?
I couldn't think of the name. Yeah. I think it is notable because we are used to seeing, Pixar and other big companies who can spend lots of money on their animated features winning this category. And now we have this movie that was kind of a scrappy production made in Blender, making it all the way to the winner's circle at the Oscars. This is also the second year in a row where an international animated movie won the Oscar after Boy and the Heron won last year. And I think this is one of several categories that suggests that the makeup of the votership of the Academy is increasingly international and maybe not subject to the same tastes that we've become used to in the Academy of old.
Yeah. I really liked the speech. I really liked the guy in the back. Someone was noting he got so nervous on the right that he buttoned his shirt wrong. So it was like this. I need you to do me a favor, and I need you to go to youtube.com and go to the Oscar website. I need you to see the thumbnail for Best Animated Feature. The thumbnail in order to see this video. And I want you to specifically look at where my man is standing in relation to the thumbnail. And if you can, post it up on screen so that people could see it. Because to me, it has to be the funniest thing.
Tell me where I'm going. I'm on the YouTube page.
Right. Wherever their nominations are, probably if you just go to video, all the videos completely in general, because I think that's everything else. Yeah, just go to videos. If you scroll down a bit, they've been doing a combination of all the behind-the-scenes stuff. But unlike last year, remember, they kind of dragged a bit. They did start getting them out in time. And there's the one. All right, this is past it now. This is before. So now if you scroll up. Oh, also real quick, since we did this too, I did want to bring this up. This is perfect pause. Scroll down a bit. Scroll down a bit. What do
Sean
you
Evans
think
on
of
Oscars?
these? And if you scroll down more, Chicken Girl.
Yeah, Chicken Shop Girl, Emilia Dannenberg? Dimoldenberg? I mean, they are getting with the times in some ways. They're good interviewers.
I wanted to bring up that... Go.
A little strange to just co-opt other people's thing, but I guess that's how the internet works.
Oh, hey, I like, no, I'm strong on that, right? Why not the Oscars on them? Why them for the Oscars? But I guess that's what you do. When we were talking about hosting and what could be different, I always look at the red carpet. The show changes very little, but the red carpet outside changes a lot. And they've been adding more influencers. And my biggest worry isn't presenters changing as much as it is the influencers and more pre-recorded stuff being incorporated into the show, because I've seen that happen on the red carpet, and I think that might influence it. All right, everything else is extra stuff. They did really great breakdowns if we're here on YouTube, where they did actually show you like the snippets. Like when the acting awards or everything else is there, you don't really get to see the performances of the behind the scenes. They uploaded deep dives to all of their stuff. All right, go up, pause. Move your lens away. Look at the still. Don't let it play. I love how he got Mike Wazowski'd. All the Oscars need to have it on the right, but there's just something so funny about the fact that there's 4 guys and it's right over his head. The guy who also messed up his spin. I love it, bro. It's so funny. He's my favorite animator of the bunch. And you do need to see the clip, bro, because he thinks he gets it right standing up, and then he's stuck up there, and he makes it worse. Play it.
Oh, no.
Play it. Now that you got to see the thumbnail, you got to play it.
And the Oscar goes to...
From the top?
Because right there, no, you see, he is the one with the most energy. And you're going to see him right here. He messes it up. But, dude, his energy is so good.
Look at his jacket.
He's at the front of the pack, and then he waits. No, you're the director. Do you see his swing? To me, he added so much energy. I didn't even see the goof. It wasn't until someone pointed it out on social media that I just found it adorable. To me, it's not even making fun of him. You'll see him right here because they were zooming in on him. You'll see as he speaks, he's trying to fix it, and he makes it worse. Look at it. It's one foot over the other.
Look, man, these guys are animators. They're not used to wearing tuxes.
That's literally what they said. This is when the crew behind the screen gets it. So again, when speaking about things like people making slip-ups, what are you talking about? That sometimes ends up being the most adorable part of the bit, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. I think
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
exactly.
Those little things show heart.
Part of what makes the night more memorable.
I love him. And I hope that when he got up and he saw himself, Zach, posted on the Academy YouTube page, he went, "Oh my gosh, I'm on the Oscars." Shout out Mike Wazowski. He's great, though.
Yeah. Wicked ended up taking home a couple awards itself. They won for Best Production Design, and then also Paul Tazwell, excuse me, took home the award for Best Costume Design, became the first Black man to win that prize. I thought Paul had a great speech.
Fantastic speech.
What do you think about the Wicked wins?
Beautiful. This was one that I had recorded for it. I had been telling you, right? I'd been a little nerd when it came to my Wicked facts on this guy and his clothing, that everything's a whirlwind. I kept repeating the production design thing because I told you, I was like, dude, this guy has been nominated almost 10 times, I want to say, for production when we get to that one. And I told you the whole tulips bit. I was like, no, he built the tulips. Who cares about the tulips? I'm telling you, he built the tulips. He did the Interstellar stuff after years of getting the nomination. Dude, he was so giddy. We'll get to him. He deserved it, rightfully so. He was one of my favorites because I think there's a bit of like being the first something in a category. And I think that people have gotten very just, it's become a thing that's muted in our minds because it's like, oh, there's always the first of something, there's always the first of something. His mattered to me because what I saw in him was someone who's been watching the awards and more than that, actual costume designers. And like, this is when you go, there's someone who doesn't think out there that they're supposed to be making costume designs, and I just won it. And to me, this is when that matters, not a, I'm not going to put other people down. I just think it really mattered to him. I don't need to put other people down to say that when he spoke about it and everything that I've seen when he's discussed it, I thought it was very beautiful. So I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I thought it was a great moment in a night where, you know, we
Luna
didn't
said
have
he
a
did
lot of
West Side Story. That's so right, because they had to CGI the sweat out.
For costumes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, he's the GOAT. He's the
All right,
GOAT.
so
Also,
shout out a legend.
Shout out a legend. Also, shout out Josh, who had reminded us, as you said, I think you had said earlier, they went to In-N-Out again?
The Flow team. Do you see they also got an email from Paul Giamatti congratulating them?
I did not. Oh, that's so cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love the Flow team. I can't wait to see what they do next.
No, the Flow team's so cool. You saw the reaction video?
No, I don't think I did.
Zach, as soon as this is done, he doesn't say a word. He just sits with his dog. Yeah. No, it's exactly what the hell you think it is, bro. I hate him. I love him. Shout out Flo. Can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Production. Dude, he was so giddy. I'm going to need you to go to his wiki. What's production designer? Wicked production designer. Nathan Crowley. Search up Nathan Crowley wiki. And you'll see all of the movies that he's made. Because to me, it's all, like, scroll all the way down to his accolades. And this is where you get to see it. This is what he's worked on. But look at this right here. Bro, count them.
Wow.
Say the names.
The Prestige, The Dark Knight,
Ooh.
Interstellar, Dunkirk, First Man, Tenet, and now finally one for Wicked. Crazy.
That's not a
5
crazy
Christopher
stat to
Nolan
you?
movies.
That's
Yeah, it's
insane
incredible.
to me.
Yeah.
So he was owed
I
it.
mean,
He was
long
owed it.
time
And
coming for
Yeah.
Nathan Crowley.
so I was really happy with him, and he was one of the smiles where you could just tell, like, he has been waiting for this. So
Yeah,
I'm happy for him.
absolutely. And, you know, like I have some issues with Wicked, but the production design and
Well,
the
it's the
costuming
opposite, right?
is wonderful.
You're mad that they didn't capture his production design, the costumes. You've had this claim for the boy for a long time, even from the last one, In the Heights. You're like, yeah, hey, I love who you hired. Can you show them?
Yeah, can you just make it look like it should?
I rewatched his Golden Globe Best Box Office speech, and he's got to be the funniest dude alive. When they tell him, come up and speak, I kid you not, he did like a wind-up. He's like, oh boy, I'm about to speak. He's so funny, dude.
Yeah. So Wicked picked up a couple. Dune picked up a couple. We mentioned some of the other films that have won. Movies that didn't get anything at the Oscars. A Complete Unknown, Nosferatu, Sing Sing, The Wild Robot, and Nickel Boys. Which movie do you feel like should be the most snubbed?
Say it again.
A Complete Unknown, Nosferatu, Sing Sing, Wild Robot, and Nickel Boys.
Okay, look. Nickel Boys, Sing Sing, all of those movies deserve it. Even more maybe than some of the other ones. But Nosferatu and what's the first one you mentioned are way too big.
Complete Unknown?
That's surprising for those movies to go home with nothing, considering that they're not just dealing with, like, remakes, popular people. They have a popular cast. That's surprising for them to go home with nothing. Sing Sing, Nickel Boys, they butchered them. They're happy they got it in. Everything else was ruined. And I just bought Nickel Boys too, so I'll be reading that on the plane. I'm realizing I got a whole Colson Whitehead. I was like, looking at the Underground Railroad. I was like, I got a library of this man's books over here. But rightfully deserved it. But you're asking me if I'm surprised? I'm not surprised I'm not getting it. I am surprised that Nosferatu, that a movie about Bob Dylan didn't get all this other love when they're hiring Mick Jagger to come in so he could do a Bob Dylan diss before presenting stuff. I will say this about Sing Sing. I did not know Macklin was a part of the story.
Had a story credit.
We always complain about 5 writers. No. It was 2 screenwriters, the story people. He was a nominee. I did not know that. Him and Divine are freaking knees, dude. That made me really happy. I don't care if they won.
Same.
They were interviewed by the Hot Ones, dude, as nominees for how they came and did the story. And that's actually what informed me that they were nominees, because you don't see them. They're all the way at the end. You put Greg, you put the other guy. Shout out them. So I'm happy for that. For you, what was the one that you thought should have?
Yeah, I mean, I think sort of I'm in the same camp as you. As great as Nickel Boys and Sing Sing are, those are movies that are atypical honorees for the Oscars. So it's cool that they're even there. You know, if I had my way, Nickel Boys would have gone home with like 4 or 5 Oscars, but I'm glad it got nominations at least, because I was worried it was going to get no nominations.
I wanted a joke.
Nosferatu to me is the one where I'm a little bit like the Academy doesn't know what it's looking at. Like the beauty of that movie. I feel like it probably should have won costumes. In my opinion, I get that Wicked has big extravagant costumes, but
Dude's my favorite movie, no? And I keep voting against it because I got to be honest. That shot in Nosferatu is the best thing I've seen all year. The way
cinematography
is the best thing I've seen. Look, I'm happy for Dune, but Nosferatu was the best shot movie. Lily Rose Depp should have been nominated.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't culturally be putting jokes into your movie that June Squibb is Bill Skarsgård because he's so transformative, and then not give it to him. I'm confused.
Doesn't make much sense. Nosferatu did not win cinematography because it went to Lowell Crawley for his work in The Brutalist, which, gotta be honest, I think that's a fair win. I think The Brutalist is.
I can't complain. Cinematography was a good category. Well, who else was nominated, if you recall? I don't think we had a sneak in there, right?
We did. We had Emilia Perez in there for some reason.
That's not a sneak. That's an invasion.
Yeah, it was.
Yikes.
I think it
Everywhere else
was.
is good, though.
Yeah, I mean, if they had just put Nickel Boys in Emilia Perez's place, we would have been working with gasoline here because it's The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Maria, Nosferatu, and then Emilia Perez.
No, his is a great win. I will say though, to go off your Nickel Boys, there was one big snub here, massive snub. Jomo Frey. I went in a binge of all of his videos. I went in a binge on your boy Ramel Ross. Edified, bro. Edified, bro.
Yeah.
I saw his Criterion Collection picks. I love the way both these gentlemen talk. He said, "Do not consume a movie, digest a movie." He said, I tasted that one, but
That's
I
great
haven't
advice.
digested that one. I edified, bro. I'm not kidding with you. I was like listening to message it like a sermon. I love hearing these two talk. There's a behind the scenes featurette where they show you how the boys were holding the stuff like full out.
Mm.
The version of what's his name handling the camera from the back, not to get into too much spoilers. The behind the scenes to Nickel Boys made me appreciate the movie to a whole other freaking level, bro.
Damn.
No, he
Yeah.
broke down this one bit with again someone who got snubbed for best supporting. I'm blanking her name, my girl, Anjanou. And Anjanou specifically has a scene where she's dealing with one of the boys, and if you know how the cinematography is working, she is technically looking at the cameraman. So she used the idea of looking at the cameraman as a way to be like, I'm not looking at what I'm supposed to, because she's also not looking at her boy.
Mm.
And I had a pause because I was like, Jomo, shut up.
Yeah, I mean, look,
You do understand? Like,
yeah, we don't say
Yeah.
things like this lightly, but like, you know, he is genuinely one of the best cinematographers working, and it's crazy to be saying that about a guy who's only made 2 feature films, but he is so clearly on a different level. I
Yeah.
absolutely can't wait to see what else is coming in his career, and it's crazy that he didn't get his first nomination for Nickel Boys.
he should have, yeah.
Yeah.
He should have. And Jomo, too.
But I'm also happy for Lil Crowley, who has made a bunch of really good movies, and his work on The Brutalist particularly is really beautiful. So
Mhm.
happy to see that award go his way. I'm also happy to see Daniel Blumberg win for his beautiful work on the score for The Brutalist. You know, we chose Challengers as our Intercut Awards winner, but if you're not going to nominate Challengers, you got to go with The Brutalist.
Rightfully so. Great speech. I loved his walk, bro. He got that little Nosferatu walk happening. It's pretty cool. And he's got it behind the scenes. Have you heard how he made it?
No, tell me.
He did the opening pianos and not playing the keys, but strumming the strings inside the pianos. But he did this one thing that's fascinating, because you know how AI talk is whatever you want to be mad at it for, right? So if you don't like Adrien Brody, that's where it's affected.
Right.
But if you do like the score, then you're ignoring that he used it. My man has this really interesting thing that he did. And you and I can approach it and be like, that's an interesting technique. Maybe some people will not like it. In where the salt scene, where he goes to get the limestone, right? Limestone, I want to say it was the place in Italy.
Yeah.
They shot off and recorded audio, specifically of guns, to get the echo, so that when they recorded back in the studio, proprietary technology allowed the instruments to have the echo that they captured. Zach, I don't even know what the hell I'm describing to you. That's why he's got the gold. I do not. I am just here to inform y'all on what ridiculous methods they did to blend that stuff to hear that boom, boom, boom.
Boom.
I love it.
It's
I
incredible.
think these are tools that are interesting. Even the way it's used on Adrien Brody, I get people's comeuppances with it, but I'm intrigued for the medium. I'm still intrigued for the medium, and this is the best case example of you guys love the score and don't realize you kind of did the same thing that you're saying is bad over there, but you guys love it over here.
Right. I think we have all these new tools at our disposal because of the advances of technology, and powerful tools in the hands of really talented craftspeople will facilitate really incredible art. We don't want to see them used in place of talented craftspeople, but to assist
Good
them
words.
is a whole other story.
Exactly. Shout out Wiley, giving some love to Nickel Boy's score as well as being underrated.
Yeah. So A pretty decent night for the Brutalist, winning 3 awards. Although Brady Corbett himself goes home empty-handed, I feel like he's kind of launched himself into that elite tier of filmmakers, and he's probably got a blank check for his next movie.
I hope so, bro. What'd you think when he grabbed? Who did he kiss? One of the nominees. I want to say it was a score guy.
Oh yeah, Blumberg. He was pretty close to the lips.
No, that man went. Then found the camera and looked at it. It's so funny.
They have an interesting relationship. There was a photo shoot. Where I'm trying to find this photo shoot. There we go. Give me just a quick second to pull up the image, because
is it a Nosferatu themed photo shoot? Because they would probably kill.
Kind of.
You didn't prep me, bro. You did not prep me, bro. Hey, they work really well, bro. That's all I'm
I
saying.
mean, I did think it was really touching when Blumberg said that he Corbett basically allowed him to become the artist he wanted to be, or something like that. That was a nice bit of the speech.
That's a bar. Good.
Yeah,
I like that. Okay, who cares?
definitely.
Yeah, that's for them. They make good work.
The big win for the Brutalist on the evening was for Adrien Brody in Best Actor, winning his second Oscar in 22 years. He also fended off the challenge from Timothée Chalamet and retained his record for youngest Best Actor winner, and celebrated by giving it the longest Oscars acceptance speech in history at 5 minutes and 37 seconds. He might still be on that stage talking.
I thought of something. And as I was thinking about it, I didn't think it could be true. But I realized it is. I believe, Zach, that you can take... Actually, I should probably do it over here. I believe...
Yeah, you got a whiteboard for a reason, right?
I have a whiteboard.
Take us to class.
You can take one Adrien Brody speech and fit all 5 of Sean Baker's speeches into his speech. How is that possible?
It seems like the math should be wrong, but I don't think it is.
The craziest part is that, like you said, in counting the entire thing, his speech is 6 minutes long. It's almost pushing 7 for the video. His 5 speeches, minute 50, minute 52. There's a 2-minute one. And then the best picture one that I'm counting as well is him splitting it with his producers. Zach, I'm presenting you something that I think may actually be a bit. I do think that Sean Baker talked less than Brody babbling for all that time.
And
That's
did
my
more
take.
with his words too.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Look, I think that I like when the Oscars clear out and let the best actors just talk. It's the biggest speech of the night. But you don't make a good case for it when you show up as unprepared as Adrien Brody seemed to. Like, when you're going to call off the orchestra because you want to finish your speech, maybe
And I've been here before.
have a better idea of how you want to finish your speech than just meandering through a half-hearted statement about not being mean to people.
Zach, I got up and booed, and I've never done that for the Oscars, and a man got slapped on that stage.
Yeah,
Vocally
it was a bit painful. I think it was one of only 3 speeches I cringed through in the evening.
You said you didn't see the SAGs? They were on Netflix?
No, I watched the SAGs.
Okay, so you saw our boy's speech for supporting, where he said, okay, I see the time there. 2 minutes, got it.
Adrien
Brody, that's for you. I had put that clip for no reason. Literally, people who had seen my video came back to be like, LOL, this aged crazy.
Mm-hmm.
His speech was so long, people who had seen my LME before the Oscars were coming back to comments for that clip that I put in of Kieran because it had aged like fine wine within 2 hours of me posting.
Right.
And he was talking so long, you couldn't leave and do something.
Yeah, not the best look,
hell, bro.
but
Now,
a historic evening. Brody
worth
became the only person with 2 Best Lead Actor wins without a loss.
I was already going to be like, hey, look, we started it with all that. Very bad speech. His performance is great, and freaking defending your young title as the youngest to ever do it is Tom Brady beating what's his name at the Super Bowl.
Mahomes, yeah,
bro.
Absolutely.
Dude,
And you
that's
know
a
Timmy was
stat.
good. Timmy had a fire speech ready in his pocket too.
I swear you could see his skin color change. It's like just like it goes from like egg white to like a little egg green. I felt bad for him. You know, nothing will ever beat our boy from Mystery of Love when he lost.
Sufjan.
The goat. To just wear it all on his face. Bless Timmy's soul. He wanted that so bad, bro. I think the only other person who's made me chuckle because bless Yuri's soul from Anora. Yuri's the only one who's been losing every single like. Yuri lost 60 straight, and on 61, he's still going, this is the one. I love the hope that he has, but Timmy will get it soon. I think it was going to be really hard to beat Adrien because you and I thought this was an outstanding performance.
Yeah.
Whatever performance-enhancing algorithms involved, look, I think he still knocked it out of the park, and I think it builds to a bigger question that we started with the Zoe thing. Oh my gosh, is she a little fake with it? But she's a performer. He plays these complicated characters that are also a mess. So when people say that he's a mess, I go, yeah, I think that's why they cast him. He's funny because he says this bit about, I just started imitating Brady. Really, what they don't realize is they ask something of me, and I just pretend to be them. And that's really what they want to see on screen. Then you hear Brady, and he goes, yeah, I cast him because I knew he would do that. Yeah, he cast this idiot he thinks he's going to one-up me. That's what I need from Laszlo. He's a moron who thinks he's going to one-up somebody, and he doesn't. That's smart. Bro, I think Brady hired Brody specifically for what he brings. He is unlikable. Dude, to lose SAG, did you know this? For The Pianist. And then still win it. Shows that the SAG did not want you. And then again, you lose SAG when Timmy's winning nothing else. He went on SNL and said, I literally don't give speeches. He did a bit about, can I finally give one? Pretend to call me up. They gave it to Kenan Thompson. Really funny bit. But it comes to show you that, like, it was a thing that wasn't happening for Timmy, and yet only the SAG is what this man loses. Why do his peers not like him? Why was he cast in Succession and too good, Zach, if I may add? I think it's because he is to blame for the baggage that he brings in. And then you got to look at him and be like, but you are kind of the GOAT.
He is talented, right?
Talented.
One of my least favorite criticisms that comes up again and again, and it's true sometimes, but one of my least favorite criticisms is, oh, that actor's just playing themselves. They're just being themselves on screen. Okay, but were you watching? Were you compelled by it? Did you find it interesting? Because sometimes, like, that's just good casting. Sometimes they're just the right person for the role. You know that only two characters who are Holocaust survivors ever led to Best Actor award, and they're both played by Adrien Brody in The Pianist and in The Brutalist?
Just him?
The only character Holocaust survivor to win Best Actor. Yes, just him.
Wow.
Yeah. Another thing that Brody achieved by winning 2 Best Lead Actor awards, he joins an elite circle of actors. Let me read you a list of people who've won Best Lead Actor twice. Spencer Tracy, Frederick March, Gary Cooper, Marlon Brando, Jack Nicholson, Daniel Day-Lewis, Sean Penn, Dustin Hoffman, Tom Hanks, Anthony Hopkins, and now the 11th, Adrien Brody.
2 things to note there. Anthony Hopkins, the father, and then also technically the biggest reversal of a supporting role going as lead for Silence of the Lambs. Little fun
category
right
fraud
there.
the other way.
Hell, wait, that's crazy. That's almost one where you're like, are you sure you want to do that? And they did it. You had mentioned one earlier before, not Nicholson.
Brando, Gary Cooper, Frederick March, Spencer Tracy.
Go back the other way?
Daniel Day-Lewis, Sean Penn, Dustin Hoffman, Tom Hanks.
What's Sean Penn's milk and what?
Milk,
Mystic?
and was it Mystic River? I want
I
to say
hope it's
Mystic River.
I just want you to
Yeah.
say it's Mystic River because I love Mystic River. My brother and I were just talking about that the other day. Producer Sean Penn of September 5th, September 5. I always forget.
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was there too. That is a crazy stacked freaking list, bro.
Yeah. It's a pretty elite company to be mentioned with, but he's a
Wow.
pretty elite actor.
No.
Luna
Through
asks a
and
question in
through.
the live stream. Do you guys think Timothée Chalamet will get it soon? You don't think he'll be DiCaprio'd? I was going to say, I think losing is better for his career to be more on that DiCaprio trajectory. I don't know if you always want to have to live up to that award for the rest of your career. But I also don't think he will go quite as long as Leo did before winning one. He seems to be pretty well liked and pretty interested in the accolades. I think he wins one within the next 10 years, maybe even sooner.
I don't think he needs to imitate everything DiCaprio did. Obviously, that's his idol. He has said so. This is who I look up to and the like. But I also think that people forget that Timmy has a lot of cross genre, cross medium respect. He takes a lot from rappers. He takes a lot from fashion. And a lot of actors don't do that. They get told what to do in those areas and they focus on one thing. But Timmy does spread around. His social media presence is very big. How that leads to this, I'm not sure. Because to me, I do think he'll get it sooner than DiCaprio's had because of his output. He has Dune and A Complete Unknown, and I believe he should have been nominated for the former over A Complete Unknown. Any year he can come with another 2 banger performances. Boy's not even 30. I have no worries. My bigger thing then is just how fast do you want it? Because Billy Crystal gave that banger of a line. When the rest of your life is right on the horizon, don't you want to start it as fast as possible? I'm butchering it a bit, but that was a beautiful quote. That's why Timmy wants it fast. So I have to rap with this instead. Why go to the SAG and say, this is nothing? I'm not. I am bigger than this. I want to be one of the greats. And then still bind yourself down to an Oscar. Before he won it, DiCaprio was already DiCaprio. So I'm a little confused when you have things like, this is my measuring stick, says, what's her name at the Golden Globes. I'm putting it down and replacing it with what? The Oscar you didn't get? It's a little weird to say that your greatness is going to be tied to the thing that you're making great for them, not them for you. But I get what they represent. You don't think that's weird, though?
I mean, I think that ambitious people want to be recognized for their ambition, and they don't necessarily see. I don't know if they see it the same way, but I think it's true, and it's sort of the same thing we were talking about with Diane Warren. At a certain point, just being around that much is pretty cool in and of itself.
Yeah. There are people who didn't win Oscars who are way bigger and better than a lot of the people who have as well. Again, it's the difference of sports and this, right? In sports, you may have not gotten a chip or however you tried from your best efforts, whatever the league had against you. But here, it's a matter of, can you get them to like you? And I think he's a likable person.
And that's also, I think the sports comparison is a worthwhile one to bring up, not just because Chalamet does it himself, but because sports, not all the time, but generally, they're better about awarding the best. It's rarely an accidental championship. Maybe there's some injuries along the way, but usually the best rises to the top in sports. And we see with movies and with the Oscars in particular, that is not always the case. With music, right? Beyonce winning for Cowboy Carter of all albums.
Out of everything?
It's hard for the artist to be recognized at their peak. We're not talking about him yet, but Anora is not my favorite Sean Baker movie, but I'm glad that Sean Baker is getting recognized.
Well, it's an interesting conversation. It's understanding all those things, and then what you do after realizing, okay, well, there's no changing it. Then how do we take it from here? But yeah, that was a good comparison in terms of last night. My brother's a sports head, my sister's the music head. So in describing to them, what's the point of the Golden Globes and everything else? What are we doing all these things if it doesn't matter? Jasmine, what's an iHeartRadio award to a Grammy? That's all I said. She got it. My brother starts talking about all the losers and whatever else. He's like, why would we be watching this if they didn't win? I looked at him dead in the eye. I said, at the Olympics, you watched the bronze game. I don't want to hear nothing else. So when you compare it to the other mediums, you see what the purpose of it is here. It's just a different thing when it's very, very subjective. He'll get it soon.
Definitely.
Also, someone brought up I Am Sam for when we were talking about Sean Penn. Did he not win it for I Am Sam?
I think he was just nominated for I Am Sam.
Wow.
I think so.
We need a Sean Penn bracket. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll put that on the agenda for this year. The Substance only went home with one Oscar, a deserved one, in my opinion, for Best Makeup. Even if maybe I would have nominated or awarded a different man instead. I mean, it's hard to argue with the work they did in The Substance.
Yeah, Mike Marino, he'll come back. He'll do what he needs to do. But
Yeah.
I thought this was one of the best ones, and I saw it behind the scenes. Did you know the injections were Coralie?
Yeah, or she like volunteered to do them on herself at first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goat.
That's nuts.
Goat. It's her blood.
Ugh.
The best. So
Very
good
cool.
award for them to get. Good award.
Good word for them to get. It did mean that Demi Moore went home empty-handed despite being the betting favorite before the show started. You were telling me that you were looking at the betting markets during the show, and as Anora started racking up prizes, the odds started shifting in Mikey Madison's favor.
Crazy, bro. I mean, when you see editing go to a movie and you know the stat is most best pictures also get editing, you start seeing a pattern. So if best director is being honored for the one thing he does on set, which is get a performance out of their actors, I'm looking at my brother like, that doesn't look like it's going to be Demi. It looks like it's going to be Anora.
Yeah.
And I felt really bad for her. If I said Timmy's face would look like it lost color, man, you could see the substance leave her face, bro. I felt so bad because Timmy knows there'll be another one. Do you remember Sylvester when he didn't get it? I'm trying to think of some other ones.
Stallone or Eddie Murphy stormed out of the Oscars after he didn't win Best Supporting Actor.
For which one?
Dreamgirls.
Dreamgirls?
I think Alan Arkin might have won for Little Miss Sunshine that year.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of another one as well.
Stallone's a good one. That's a good pull.
Yeah, that one, and Denzel when he lost to Casey Affleck, putting away his speech. Like ones where people really want it, where it means even more because I don't think so, because I feel like an idiot going, oh, well, that was your last one. I guess we didn't learn a thing from The Substance. It's crazy for the movie's freaking premise to be you're not expired at 50 and then go, oh, what this was the last chance. But the reality is, Zach, like, what the hell? It was all here, right? They always say you have everything for your first movie and your second movie's going to be really hard. This was everything for that nomination. It's her entire story.
Yeah,
what
and
happened?
I think
Explain.
I think it's also a different case if Demi Moore is an actor who is working more consistently, or at least working in big movies more consistently.
Exactly.
Like we've seen her in some stuff that we've liked. There's that movie where she's like on a corporate retreat and they get stuck underground that she's very funny in, but that's not the kind of movie that gets nominated at the Academy Awards, right? Like it's rare that Demi finds herself in a movie that is in the Oscars discussion. So I'm sure there's a bit of that recognition in there as well, plus the length of her career and the fewer opportunities given to women her age. But hopefully, you know, she has something like what's happening to Michelle Yeoh post Oscars win, where Michelle Yeoh seems to be popping up in a lot of movies, or Jamie Lee Curtis, who with her Oscars win feels like her career is as strong as it's ever been in lots of different spots. I don't know. Maybe it points a little bit to lingering aversion to horror movies. I don't know how many anonymous Oscar ballots you read, but there were plenty that were like, I couldn't even get through The Substance. I don't know. It's a little strange to me that it flipped. I think it also does speak again to what I was talking about earlier about the increasingly international membership of the Academy, because for, you know, I think most of its history, SAG and the Oscars have a lot of correlation, yet we see in both Best Actor and Best Actress, the SAG award winner was not the winner at the Oscars.
On top of that, the SAG is announced after voting ends, so it can't even be like, oh, so this is what my peers were thinking, let me shift it because I still have time. All the voting is in, so you know, okay, and this is the reveal, we know what the percentage of actors would have been going for. So if that doesn't win, it's what you're saying. You can mathematically showcase, holy smokes. Can you redline in Oscar voting? Can you gerrymander? Because
they seem to be trying. Yeah.
You saw the Golden Globes bit? That's also scary. Whoever they hired, they then fired. That is freaking weird. I don't know. It's a little confusing. And
Yeah,
also,
a little confusing for
why
sure.
would the international people be against a French woman's film?
Yeah, I mean, Anora was the Cannes Palme d'Or winner, but
Oh,
The
okay.
Substance
No,
also
that's a good one. That's a good one.
did well
So,
at
yeah.
Cannes. So
For the record, Corporate Animals was the pick you were talking about.
Right, thank you.
The movie she had made, and she's also in Landman right now.
yeah, she is frequently getting in and out of pools in Landman.
And she was in Feud as well. So maybe TV. Maybe it ends up being an Emmy over an Oscar. Damn.
Yeah. Best actress, instead of going to Demi Moore, went
Shocked.
to Mikey Madison for her role in Anora. I think a performance we're both big fans of, and it's been cool to see Mikey's rise through films that we've enjoyed. A pretty cool moment for her. She is the youngest Best Actress winner since Jennifer Lawrence was the winner for Silver Linings Playbook back in, I want to say,
Paper
2012.
Moon. Damn. How old is she?
Mikey's 25.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's also
right, because we're saying
interest-
Timmy's would have been 29.
right. Interesting to
She
compare to
didn't even
Best
break a
Actor.
record.
Yeah, she's the 9th youngest Best Actress winner, and she would have been the youngest Best Actor winner had they combined the categories. But
That's so dumb. Yeah, because then
Yeah.
Tatum O'Neal.
she
wanna
won for
say-
supporting actress, but yeah, Tatum O'Neal was like 8 or something when she won.
But also, that's also category 5 because she would lead.
yeah, I mean, Hollywood really, it speaks to how Hollywood really loves an ingenue. They love like a fresh
Except
young.
Ingenue.
I can't top that.
No, it just sucks, bro. But hey, worthy of it.
Yeah,
I like her playing the character too and going up there with a hickey. I truly like it when the actors are method. But for her career, I hope this doesn't hurt it, because the secret trajectory of you being in a movie that gets a guy to call up, who's this person, felt like it was going to keep growing. I mean, it grew to this immediately. So will it continue to be something even bigger? Because nothing is cooler than her having been in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And that damn director, Quentin Tarantino, giving you the gold for Sean Baker to be like, bro, if you didn't put her in the movie, I wouldn't have even directed this. He has come out on the record and said it was for Scream, but mind you, he just don't get Scream. Did Sean Baker live everyone's dream last night?
I mean, it's kind of the thing that you don't think could happen, right? My man walked home with 4 Oscars, the seemingly impossible. He's the first person to ever win 4 Oscars in the same night for a single movie. You might be thinking, wait, didn't Bong Joon-ho did that? No, they give the best international Oscar to the country, even though he gave the speech for it. Bong technically won 3 Oscars for Parasite.
What did you just say?
They give the Oscar to the country instead of the filmmaker for best international feature.
Zach, what the hell does that mean?
It's going to be a museum somewhere. Walter Salles isn't going to keep that Oscar.
We already thought that category was bad. What do you mean you just added something dumber? Keep going. We don't have time.
They need to really rethink that.
Holy smokes.
So Sean Baker
and to
will.
think Flo gave it. Oh, is that why Flo's was in the museum?
Yeah.
For Globes?
Exactly.
Damn, he got a repoed.
Yeah, I
No
mean,
wonder
the
he's
least
going
they
to
could
get
do
it
is
now.
give him a copy, right?
Oh, that's why he's stuck eating 4x4s.
Yeah.
Double doubles.
So Sean Baker winning 4 for a single film. He's not the first person to win 4 Oscars in a single night. That he's the second. The first was Walt Disney in 1953. And when you know you tied a Walt Disney Oscar record, that's something special. Another thing to think about with Sean Baker, next year, the Oscars are adding their best casting category.
Tell him.
Sean Baker cast Anora too. He could have won 5.
Wow. This is a film student's dream.
Yeah.
And you know what? Say it like it's a joke, bro. Yeah, I'll win director, and I'll not just win it. I'll do the editing on my movie first off, and I will also be the writer, and I will also be the producer. What's the 5th one he got, or did he only win 4?
He only won 4. It would have been for casting, would have been the 5th. But not only to win all these awards, nailed all the speeches too.
Every
I
single one. As I said, 5 speeches under one Adrien Brody speech. I don't know how you do it. Keeps it tight. Keeps it tight. Keeps it tight. That's embarrassing.
I
And
thought
you're right. All of the
he
speeches were great.
would have blown his load on like the first or second speech, but then he came up the third time and gave the treatise to movie theaters,
He knew
which
he
was
had
so
him in his back
eloquent
pocket.
and beautiful. It was one of the best speeches of the night. I also
Yeah.
loved him poking fun of it at himself and saying
Editor?
he saved the movie in the edit during his best editing speech.
Conan started with the I'm watching the Brutalist. It's still going on.
Mhm.
Yeah, we get it. 3-hour movie's gonna get that joke for sure. I love the I fixed the movie in the edit. I hate that director. Always wanted me to fix it. But I love that bit. Obviously, with what we do for a living as well. So that really killed me when he did that. I went, I hate you, bro. You literally just said the bit that the film kid would have said too. He killed every aspect of it. My favorite one was when he told, I don't know if you got to hear it, because it wasn't beeped out for me, which I thought was really interesting. But when he told A24, you can suck it, I thought that was kind of crazy when he just verbally said that by saying, thank you, Neon. If
Yeah,
you
'cause-
hear Neon, that means you're hearing A24. And if you hear A24, that means you're saying they don't like Neon. Talk about it,
This-
because someone brought it up in the chat too.
Yeah, this is Neon's second Best Picture win. They also won Best Picture for Parasite, so now them and A24 are tied in their ever-escalating rivalry with one another.
Yes, the big studios that are not big studios, they're independent, so they don't have to do things through strikes. Genius, A24, and Neon. And I believe they're all coming from the people from the big studios too. Genius work happening. But the shade I felt came from the fact that multiple directors have worked underneath. Let me build it up before I get to him. If you recall, A24 was working with a little filmmaker known as Osgood Perkins. Then Neon picked him up.
Mhm.
The rest is history. I don't even need to describe what happened with Long Legs. He felt that from A24, that they chose other filmmakers under their repertoire and not him. Now we got this guy who did not get the push he should have when it came to
Red Rocket.
Red Rocket. Moves to Neon.
Sweeps.
Looks like they did a great job, and you and I think Red Rocket's a better movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it says everything you need to know about how these companies are moving. And I'm not dismissing Neon of everything either. Don't forget the what's the movie Origin. Remember there was some
Right.
conflict with Origin. I'll leave it there. But this feud right now between Neon and A24, and especially when you get the filmmakers involved. We were doing the big Universal one with Warner Brothers with Christopher Nolan just last year. So it's fascinating to see how all of this works. But his big speech for indie cinema, him being the proponent, all that I think is fascinating. Do you have any worries on the trajectory of what this may mean? Because you get biopics, people are like, we're always doing biopics. You do topics, it becomes Oscar bait. You did the quirky Everything Everywhere All at Once. People think we're going to diminish the Oscars. It's going to be whatever else. I have one, and I'm all pro for his indie spirit thing. I do think that producers have a lot of bad history in Hollywood, and I don't think that awarding someone who didn't have an intimacy coordinator is something y'all should copy. That's his. Do not copy that, bro. So that is my big warning, is do not use this boy as a Trojan horse for something else.
Mhm.
He has the merit and everything else that came with it. His speech about the sex workers, I think, hit even harder yesterday, with that being the big thing that people carry around with them. We don't talk about it a lot, but he got saved by Twitter likes going private. There is a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes when we're talking about what it is that you're honoring. But besides all that, I'm really happy for him. This feels like a film nerd before I can even think of a film maker getting an award. He was geeking out there like us who watch these awards.
Yeah, for all the hoopla about the accounts that he follows online and stuff, this dude, whenever he's in front of a microphone, only talks about how much he loves films, shooting on film, and watching films at the movie theater, which,
That's it.
as fellow cinephiles, as fellow movie nerds, I think we can definitely relate to and appreciate. And I feel like it's really it's great to have somebody defending their honor on cinema's biggest night in a way that's as eloquent as he did. So I don't know. I was happy for it. I'm happy, particularly because I've been a fan of his films for a while, and it's been pretty crazy to see the growth he's had from making micro budget features into making things that are slightly more than micro budget. I'm curious to see what he will do now that he potentially is going to get access to his biggest budget of his career. I know he had a different film that was supposed to go into production that he abandoned because he just got the idea for Anora. It was like, nope, I'm back to making the movies about sex workers. He just can't quit it. He's he's a frequent trick, I guess. I did think it was interesting, while we're sort of on the subject of Neon, I saw somebody mention these are the last 10 studios to win Best Picture: Neon, Universal, A24, Apple, Searchlight, Neon, Universal, Searchlight, A24, Open Road Films. Absent from that list are some of the bigger studios. There's no Paramount here, there's no Disney here, there's no 20th Century Fox. There's it is these kind of more mid-major studios that are the ones that are still producing the movies that we consider Best Picture at the Oscars. Do you feel like you notice that in the movies that we're getting, that it's really these kind of in-between studios that are making the best films right now?
Yeah, because I mean that's why Sony Pictures became Sony Pictures Classics, because the father is that. So I feel like they Weinstein, right? What was Weinstein under? What was the actual distributor?
Miramax?
I think so, right? So at that point, he technically is like that. What Searchlight is to Fox, the fancy brand, right? What Lexus is to, what is it, Toyota? It's the fancy version of what it's supposed to be. I feel that's what these studios have been. I am of the belief that the Neon and the A24s aren't as independent as we all think. They came with all of the knowledge from the bigger studios. They were execs there. So to me, they're just a hybrid version of those things. So while they are independent, they're just not a big blockbuster. They are just the Searchlight without Fox. They are Sony Pictures Classics without the Sony. But that's because we're in this new environment where we also are not working for the Chicago Sun-Times or the New York Times, because we have a completely new sphere where we can do things on our own. And when they had all that backing like they did, that's what it was. A24's people are bankers. That's how they were even able to make their thing. That's what people forget about, like how these groups started, is because they have all of that history and knowledge of it. So to me, I when do they become it? When does an independent filmmaker get so big that you start from your garage and then your Apple, then your Amazon? What is the threshold before you're not independent, but you're still doing the same things? You're just making too much money now.
Right. Like what is an Indie Spirit Award anymore?
What is it? Just because the Indie Spirit Awards are the most expensive indie spirits. That's it. That's what you're awarding at that point. It's what was able to make the biggest splash. So to me, that's what I think about. When does Neon and A24 then just become the bigger ones that a new Neon and A24 need to come out from the ashes? So it's a cycle, right? United Artists was once a thing. It evolves, it cycles. All that matters is that people like him are able to get a movie made, and that hopefully it gets funded, and that hopefully it gets awarded. But out of all of the ones last night, it's crazy that we began the season with this being a front runner all the way from Cannes. And it became so loved by the film fans, those letterboxers. It became one of the highest ones up there as well, that people just pushed back on it. I felt the last couple of months, it was those mean tweets where it's like, ooh, this is what happens if you let a letterbox person run it. It's going to be Anora. Look at that. To make fun of someone for what they think the outcome might be, that you don't think they should be talking about it, and then you're the one whose outcome was the one that was proved wrong. I wouldn't be tweeting. But Sean Baker, you're a film fan, and I think that those are the people who should be honored and awarded.
Absolutely.
You deserve it.
Yeah, even if Anora wasn't either of our picks for the best movie of the year, I think we're fans of the film and we're fans of the filmmaker, and it's a cool crowning achievement for somebody who really represents a lot of what we appreciate about the industry at times.
Yeah.
I definitely would have liked for them to spread the love around a little bit more. I mean, as cool of an achievement it is for
concentrated. Yeah.
Yeah,
They said sweep,
yeah.
and I have to correct that. Yuri did not win. So
Right.
it's not a
Went
sweep.
5 for 6.
Yeah. See, I know y'all don't watch sports sometimes in the movie world, but that is not a sweep. You gotta say the word. You gotta save it. I will say, what was your pick? What was your lot going in? Mine ended up being Conclave right before.
Oh, for Best Picture?
Yeah, going in. I know it changes once you get stuff. The moment I lost editing, I knew it wasn't gonna go to Conclave.
I predicted that Baker would win all 4 of these awards.
Fire.
I kind of went some safe in a lot of my predictions. It didn't do me well in going with Demi Moore or going with The Wild Robot. I ended up 16 for 23 or 16 for 20 if you don't count me missing all 3 shorts categories. That surprised me. We actually didn't mention the shorts. I don't know if you had any
The
particular
shorts were
thoughts.
a little bit of a surprise. Yeah, just really
Yeah.
quickly. The first one going to Cyprus. I had that early on as a pick, and then later on I was like, no, I wanted to go to something different that I thought was gonna get it. Did not. My big surprise was I'm Not a Robot, because I personally really liked that one, and it was not tracking to win it. The other ones were. They had, bigger stuff dealing with deportation and the such, like Alien, and it won it. I'm gonna come back to that one though. The last one ended up being documentary. I was rooting for Incident. It ended up going to I don't know if you can recall.
Documentary went to, I have it in my thing here.
I think like Warden was really
Oh,
high,
it went
Best Picture.
to The Only Girl in the Orchestra.
Orchestra.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one that I did not see coming at all. But going back to best live action short, I'm Not a Robot. Did you see our boy?
Which one?
We have an Intercut fan who made a short called I Am Not a Robot.
Really?
Back in the day for NYU. And they logged last night a 1-star review for this one. Now, I haven't seen it yet, but they're the exact same movie. I did find that a little interesting.
Interesting.
So we'll talk more about that later. We may actually have an insight.
Yeah, they better not have
Look at that.
plagiarized an Inner Cutie.
Yeah. But we'll get to that later as well.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think it was a good award show. It wasn't the best award show. I can't say that outside film fans are going to fall head over heels for it, which I still think that there needs to be a balance between those who are big fans of movies getting their fix, but then also being able to reach out to a bigger crowd. And I don't think we've done that yet, because the musical performance are usually that. And I don't know what musical performance you're sharing with other people.
Right.
So they need to double down on like, yo, stop with this like self-congratulating stuff. Make it something for other people. Stuff like Conan doing the movie theater bit where you combine your phones. That was a good mixture of something for the people. And again, as they start maybe doing more pre-recorded stuff and the like, I hope it's things that actually have virality to it so that people have a reason to tune into the show. Look at every other thing. If we keep bringing the sports comparison, people tune in for what reason? For the trailers, for the commercials at the Super Bowl, even the halftime show. That's why What's-His-Name brought it up as well. We're halfway through. Kendrick should be saying something about Drake somewhere at this point in time. I think there's still a little bit more marketing because we love this, right? Movies are our thing. And just like people are fighting for the movie studios, you should also be fighting for the award shows before they start diminishing as well.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with that sentiment. Really enjoyed the Oscars. I think they can only go up from here if they take the lessons from this year's show. I think there's a lot of good, but a lot of stuff that can even be better. So I'm looking forward to it. I think we're optimistic right now, especially in this era where we need to make a case for the continuation of the medium, of movie theaters, of these mid-tier movies that are adult-driven dramas. A lot of good stuff.
But that is it. I'm not talking about 2024 movies ever again in my.
Should we do a little way too early 98th Oscar Best Picture predictions? I got 10 movies for you if you're ready for them.
Go ahead. If you got the 10, perfect. I thought we were gonna do everything coming up. I'll do the 10. Give me 10.
All right. So just for what it's worth, I did this exercise last year on the podcast the day after the Oscars, and I mentioned 10 movies. And those 10 movies were Anora, Bird, Blitz, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Joker Folie à Deux, Juror Number 2, Queer, The End, and We Live in Time. So a year ahead, I got 30%.
That's not bad.
It's not shabby, if I may say so myself.
And the other ones were contenders.
Yeah,
Joker probably
exactly.
the only one that flamed out the fastest, but no one was expecting that. That's why it got its jokes. For Joker to have been a juggernaut and then disappear is also really funny.
Yeah, and deserved, in my opinion. But let's talk about movies that we have not seen yet that might make their way to the Oscars. Making just educated guesses here, but sometimes it's movies that like come from established filmmakers who have had a successful history at the Oscars, and I feel like we got to think about One Battle After Another, the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie. That to me is got to be a front runner, as well as the new film that has Yorgos Lanthimos reteaming with Emma Stone. They were so successful with Poor Things. I don't see a reason why they wouldn't be successful with Begonia as well.
Sounds good.
Anora was the Palme d'Or winner at Cannes, and those movies have recently been doing well in terms of getting Best Picture nominations as well. A movie that a lot of people think is rumored to debut at Cannes this year is the new Ari Aster film, Eddington. He's a filmmaker who has been getting a lot of respect and seems to have been
What a cast.
Yeah, it seems to be well liked in the industry. This film, which is supposedly his furthest from horror yet, maybe that's the one to break into the Academy's good graces.
And look, we like the last one. Obviously really like Beau is Afraid. That did piss off a lot of people in the industry. I don't care about fans. Fans are important as well. But it really gets me when you got professionals talking smack. That was very rude. Every person who's always said, don't talk about other movies once you're in the movies, all smack talked Ari Aster last year. I went to a whole thing where what's his name just bashed it for 10 minutes straight.
Matt Johnson, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So part of me does wonder if he needs a win, even though to you and I, that's a ridiculous thing to say.
Right. Another movie that's rumored to debut at Cannes.
At the studio?
Yes. I think we're embargoed from it, but yeah, I'm caught up. Another movie that is rumored to debut at Cannes. Die My Love, the latest from Lynn Ramsey. We talked about this in our most anticipated video because it's got Jennifer Lawrence, Robert Pattinson, and Lakeith Stanfield in the cast.
Wait, are you telling me it's possible for there to be 10 whole women nominated for Oscars by next year? For
I mean, let's not get carried away, but
they can still snub. You're right. Let me not put too much juice.
Yeah. Hey, look, if they snub Lynn Ramsey, they got another shot because I think The Mastermind, the upcoming Kelly Reichardt film, maybe could be considered as well. It's a heist movie that's set against the backdrop of the Vietnam War. Pretty cool cast with Josh O'Connor, Alana Haim, John Magaro, and others. Kelly Reichardt, another person who I think is pretty well respected, but hasn't necessarily made a movie big enough to capture the Oscars' attention. Perhaps this is that film. Speaking of movies that are big enough, now that the Oscars expanded to 10 Best Picture nominees, they do nominate some blockbusters now and again, and they've nominated every movie in the Avatar franchise so far. I don't see why they couldn't nominate Avatar, the Fire and Ash as well.
Yeah, it could definitely be a possibility. Is Dune slated for this year? I think it's a dumb thing to ask because I think people know.
No, I think.
But people say it.
I think Messiah is slated for the year after? So we're not getting back-to-back Disney years. Yeah.
You said you have Superman?
If not, Avatar. Not yet. Maybe if it makes a Cannes Film Festival debut, I will reconsider that opinion. I do have Wake Up Dead Man, the third in the Knives Out series. A lot of people think that the first Knives Out film was just on the precipice of getting nominated for an Oscar. I wonder if this film... I agree. I wonder if this film, which is looking, at least from the initial images, like a maybe slightly darker take on the Knives Out franchise, might be in line to get some kind of love from the Oscars. I think people really like Rian Johnson as a filmmaker as well. Then from outside those movies, I'm picking the new film from Luca Guadagnino. Despite him getting snubbed for challengers, I think there's a thirst to award him for something. And After the Hunt, which stars Julia Roberts, Io Debris, and Andrew Garfield, might be that movie.
Mm.
I also think Sacrifice, which is the new film from Athena filmmaker Romain Gavras, could potentially get a nomination. It's about a failing movie star who tries to get back into the spotlight at a charity gala that gets upstaged and kidnapped by radical voters. Could feel very timely a year from now. This movie is starring Anya Taylor-Joy, Chris Evans, Selma Hayek, and John Malkovich, as well as Charlie XCX and Young Lean.
What the hell? Like, out of all the lists that you've given me, there's something about this upcoming year that feels so fresh because it's big names together. A big name in an indie is one thing, but multiple big names in these original projects, and they're not blockbusters, and we still have so many blockbusters.
And
Wow.
the last one that I'll mention, and in my 10, is I think I'm gonna go with If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, the standout from Sundance, a really artful film from Mary Bronstein. You know, maybe it'll be a little bit too aggressive for the Academy's taste, and they'll pivot to something like Sorry Baby. But I don't know. I think there's something really artful about If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You that might make it be a breakthrough in terms of awards.
I'm going with acting on that one for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. We also had the Frankenstein movie. When you're talking about other women who can be nominated, was she nominated on the precipice for it for the last one, Maggie Gyllenhaal?
Maggie
I remember
Gyllenhaal.
her getting some love.
It definitely got some love. I think maybe Olivia Colman got a nomination, or at least some critics awards for her role in The Last Daughter. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about movies that aren't in my 10, but totally could get nominated at the Oscars. I think it's called Bride of Frankenstein, the upcoming Maggie Gyllenhaal one. Totally could be. Guillermo del Toro is working on his own Frankenstein movie. That it could be a contender, as many of his films are. I'm seeing in the chat, Josh is mentioning the new Celine Song film, The Materialists, could be in there. Luna brings up the new Zendaya Robert Pattinson movie. That is from your guy, Christopher Borgli. That one's called The Drama. I could see that one getting in as well.
Christopher Borgli, Dream?
Sick of Myself, Dream Scenario, Christopher Borgli. Yeah,
Excellent.
that guy.
Excellent.
There's two Safdie brothers movies coming out next year, and they're not together. There's Josh's movie, The Smashing Machine, and Benny's movie, The Smashing Machine, and Josh's movie, Marty Supreme. Those films star respectively The Rock and Timmy Chalamet. There's also the chance that the Bruce Springsteen biopic, Deliver Me From Nowhere, with your boy Jeremy Allen White, could get in. That movie is from Crazy Heart director Scott Cooper.
Did he win for Crazy Heart? Bridges?
I think Bridges won for Crazy Heart. Yeah.
Hey, my man is gonna one up his Emmy.
He might just have some company on his shelf next to that Emmy.
I don't know if they're the same studios, but I would definitely look at everything A Complete Unknown didn't do right and start taking notes.
Right. Kogonada's got a movie next year as well called A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey with Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie. And we're getting a new Wes Anderson movie next year as well called The Phoenician Scheme. So there's plenty of movies out there that could be vying for these awards. There's going to be another Wicked movie. There's Spike Lee's Akira Kurosawa remake. Joseph Kosinski made Top Gun Maverick, and now he's using the same cameras for F1. Maybe that gets in there.
Yeah, well, it's good. Don't forget, Chase got a pick right here. It's shot to look like it's on film.
Maybe our first Best Picture Marvel nominee in Thunderbolts.
Brutalist, like yeah, Black Panther already got the Phoenician Scheme. That sounds crazy, bro. Phoenician Scheme.
And we should also probably mention The Life of Chuck, which won the People's Choice Award at TIFF.
Yeah. And then got delayed. You saw that one. Do you see that? Because that's usually they don't wait that long. They go off the momentum off that award. And you guys were like really confused. But having seen it, is it good if it would have flipped it immediately? And also, is it smarter to compete with Dispatch?
I think it's not an Oscars movie is why they're delaying it. I think it's more of like a feel-good family drama. in some ways. But you know, I've been wrong before. Maybe I'll be wrong again.
Hey, all good picks. There's all the movies that we won't even know about that'll sneak in and come out of nowhere. Like Nickel Boys was definitely more under the radar. That's not something you see until it starts getting into festivals or production. Be some other sneaks that came in.
The other thing that I'm not really mentioning in my predictions are many international movies, just because I'm not as in tune with what's coming out there. But as we've seen, the Oscars are increasingly international. Both Emilia Perez and I'm Still Here made the cut last year, Anatomy of Fall the year before that. So don't be surprised to see some award winner out of Cannes or Venice or something sneak in there as well. Maybe the new film from Julia Ducournau.
We don't have con stuff yet, right?
They're announcing their lineup in April, I believe.
Okay, gives us some time. But there it is.
We did it.
New Darren Aronofsky too?
Yeah, with Austin Butler caught stealing.
Damn, bro. They can't just get nobody's like.
And Trevor also pointing out there's a new Park Chan-wook movie, so maybe that. Yeah, I mean, the description of that movie sounds way too violent for the Oscars, but we'll see.
Oh, right, the Oscars. I was just taking all these for me. That's all I care about. I was looking at the menu for myself.
Yeah. That Park Chan-wook movie is called No Other Choice, by the way.
I'll get 2 tickets for that, please.
But yeah, I think that's most of our thoughts on the 97th Annual Academy Awards. Shout out Anora. Congratulations, Sean Baker.
Shout out the sex workers. Shout out Yuri. Shout out the boy. Hey, what's the kid from Anora doing next?
Mark Eidelstein is going to be the star of season 2 of Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Amazon
That's
Prime.
what you told me.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So that kid's all right. He's going to do all right. Russian Timothy Chalamet has a career.
That my brother gives away. He's like, no, he was in Anora. I was like, so everyone's made this joke already, bro. Everyone's already made it.
Any final nominations? Josh talking about what if Coleman Domingo gets nominated 3 years in a row. That would be really interesting. And given the level of actor he is, it wouldn't be surprising. Do we know if he has a movie coming out next year?
Can I pitch Coleman Domingo getting an Oscar not for acting? I think he has a great career in producing.
Right. It helped bring us one of our favorites. It's What's Inside.
Emma Stone is already a full-on producer as well. And I see that being her new big ploy as a
So I was going to make a joke about Coleman Domingo getting nominated for the Russo brothers movie Electric State, but it actually looks like Coleman Domingo is playing Joe Jackson in the Michael Jackson biopic.
Which was
that
the horse tooth just brought up.
Yeah, that totally could play a role.
We have had
we're pretty skeptical about it.
No faith in this. And then we won't cover it here. Go read what happened with what they need to scrap because they accidentally filmed something that they were like, oh, that's right, there's a lawsuit and we were never supposed to talk about that.
Yeah.
Oh, how Zach, how many days of first on the call sheet did you do before you forgot about that massive piece of paper that's public knowledge that you can't be covering the story? It is a mess.
It is.
I'm excited.
Not what you want to see, but we will see it for
one
sure.
Thing that even sadder is the fact that we're getting this while in the meantime the documentary from the other artist formerly known as Prince is diminished.
Yeah, talk about films that would have been a lock for the Oscar. I mean, I guess maybe not because it's they stopped letting multi-part things get awarded after his last one. But shouts to Ezra Edelman. 4 years of your life down the drain.
Nah, someone needs to leak that one out there. And the last one I'll mention here, I think Josh had put it too. Spielberg coming back to do a sci-fi is the funniest thing because that means that man sat down in IMAX to see Nope and he went, I'm getting back to work. Oh, no. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I can't let you come from my territory.
Gotta remind you who started this over here.
Right.
Well, fun movies on the horizon, fun movies to cover from the past year. Overall, great ceremony. Do you have a favorite Oscar snack you had as we wrap it up?
Ooh, the substance activator Jello shots were a big hit. They look cool and they taste great and they get you a little drunk. So, triple pack, triple threat.
I promise I'm still here.
My chili con conclave lasted me a few days and it was pretty tasty. I'll go with that.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Decent. Well, we're curious to know y'all's picks, your snubs, your thoughts on the Oscars. Appreciate everybody who is on the live stream as well. You can catch more from us on the Intercut podcast channel every week here on Weekend Must Watch. You can follow more from me over at LME Movies. You can follow Zach over at
Z Shevich, wherever you do social stuff, or at Multiplex Show, wherever you're looking for videos. You can also find more about my early Oscar picks or my Oscars feast there. But also, if you're looking for just more award stuff from us, look back at the Intercut Awards we posted a couple days ago with all sorts of contributions from you, the Intercuties. If you didn't like the Academy's choices, maybe you'll like our choices a bit better.
maybe your own choices too, because you had the chance to vote. Shout out Wiley in the chat saying thanks for the show and that hopefully next year has better music. I hope so too.
We're getting original
it's-
songs from
you
Wicked
know-
next year, so that's one.
Oh yeah, we
one.
are. Damn, they are waiting for all that one.
Yeah.
Shout out again everyone who is in the chat. We really appreciate it. A reminder that you can listen to every episode of the Intercut podcast on iTunes, Anchor, Spotify, whatever your favorite podcaster of choice is. And you can also catch the live video here every week. A big shout out to all of the Intercuties who leave us that 5-star review. When you leave a 5-star review on iTunes, they take a second off of Adrien Brody's speech on the Oscars thing. So please keep leaving those.
See, that's the problem. Is not enough of you have been leaving us 5-star reviews. Otherwise, we all would have gone home earlier.
They keep adding seconds, bro. We charted
We charted all over the
Everywhere.
place, all over the globe. But shout out particularly to Brazil, where we're doing really well right now. We're charting in the Netherlands, in Algeria, South Africa, Estonia, the UAE, Norway, the Philippines, Singapore, Portugal, Poland, Canada, and right here in the United States of America.
We're an international podcast. What can we say? Don't forget to leave us a comment, drop a like, follow all the socials over on Intercut Pod. Until next time, keep watching movies, and we'll see you at next year's Oscars.
Soho House.